The Rangers offense has shown up for work this season, chopping down opponents with lumberjack cuts from the entire workforce. Tonight in Seattle, they'll take their hacks at one of the bigger obstacles in the division. Around here, they call him the King. Welcome to Rangers Baseball, presented by AT&T. Tonight, we come to you from Seattle, where it should be a full house. Ken Griffey Jr. statuettes given out as they honor their Hall of Famer tonight. Game one of our three-game series. Also, Felix Hernandez start. That gets the fans out here as a general rule. So we get ready. Rangers in town, having won 2 straight as we welcome you into the booth. Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nitkowski. And it has been fun the last couple of days. Rangers winning a couple of nice games in Anaheim. The offense, not just in those last 2, but all season, CJ, really has been churning.
It has been strong, and that's really what we expected. You can say one thing about the Texas Rangers coming into 2017 was that the offense was going to be strong. You see the 6 runs per game. It has been a lot of fun to watch, but probably the most impressive part has been the power. How about the 18 home runs that is leading the American League, and some absolute bombs that we saw Carlos Gomez starting off this season with that 461-foot home run. And it's happening throughout the lineup. Always a good sign when you have 8 different players with a home run. That is the most in Major League Baseball. So without a doubt, the offense has been unbelievably strong here to start the season.
Yeah, and how about this? The Rangers with a +9 run differential through 9 games this season. The only team in the division with a positive run differential at this point. But tonight they will face Felix Hernandez, a Cy Young Award winner for the Seattle Mariners. And anytime you're facing a guy like him, everybody on high alert.
Without a doubt. There are a few legitimate aces in Major League Baseball. King Felix is one of those, and he has been throughout his career ever since he broke in 2005 as a 19-year-old. The accolades lining up year after year. This has been a guy who will give you 30-plus starts, 200-plus innings, year in and year out. And you mentioned it. Anytime King Felix is on the mound here in Seattle, it is an event with Kings Court down the left field line. They have filled it up with their yellow T-shirts tonight.
And you can see the Rangers have fared well against Felix Hernandez last couple of times out, piling up the runs against the great right-hander up here in Seattle. Now, his mound opponent tonight, Martin Perez, fellow countryman. He is 3-0 against Felix Hernandez in his career. When we come back, Emily Jones sits down with Martin to talk about his relationship with his hero. Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keep calm to learn more. By Budweiser, not backing down since 1876. This Bud's for you. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. in Seattle, Washington at Safeco Field. Ready for the opener tonight. First of three, Rangers and the Seattle Mariners. Great pitching matchup, really unique pitching matchup tonight. Martin Perez, Felix Hernandez, and yesterday, Emily Jones had some time to sit down with tonight's Rangers starter, Martin Perez.
Thank you very much. Here with starting pitcher Martin Perez. And Martin, I know this will be a big start for you in Seattle going up against Felix. Have you thought about those emotions, even though you've done it before, being even more amplified because of your relationship in the WBC?
Yeah, and I think I want to be more focused tomorrow because I want to beat Felix again. It's going to be my number 4 game against him, and I feel good, and let's see what happens tomorrow, but I want to do my best tomorrow.
Yeah, so you've faced him already 3 times, or gone up against him 3 times, and you've won all 3, so you're looking to keep that record perfect. That's got to be something you guys discussed during the WBC.
Yes, of course. He got mad at me, and he just told me, hey, let me win. And I say, I can't control my guys, I can't control the bats, so don't throw the ball in the middle, just move the ball, and let's see what's happening. But you know, he's gonna do his job, and I'm gonna do my job, and we both gonna compete.
What was that relationship like for you? What did you learn from him during that time this offseason?
I think Felix is a good human guy, and he always told me, hey, don't throw the pitch they don't wanna throw. Just trying to throw the pitch with conviction, and don't throw the pitch just for throw. Just throw with a faith, and you're gonna get good results.
For you to play alongside someone that you've looked up to so much, what was that experience like for you?
A lot. I was with him, and I said, wow, I'm with Felix now, and he's one of the best pitchers in the league. And when I was, grow up, that's who I'm looking for, Felix and Johan Santana. And, play with him, have fun in the World Baseball Classic was amazing for me. And I think after that, I come here with different mind and different plan. And now you guys can see how was my game, my last 2 games, and so different than last year. And I think this year is gonna be, big for me and for my team too.
For you, what have you liked about your first 2 starts, and what do you want to improve upon?
I like everything, especially in the second one. My tempo was good. I was pitching quick, and we get a quick out, so I want to stay there all season, and I don't want to change nothing because everything is good.
How about the relationship between you and Robinson? Is that something that helps you relax out there?
Yes, he always, when I try to go in too fast, he always, come to the mound and tell me, hey, trying to rest, don't go in too quick, because when I go in too quick, I lose my mind and I can't control the motion. So, he's one of the best teammates that I have here, and he knows me. And I love Chirinos, man. He's a good guy, and he's my brother too.
Yeah, there you have it. The thoughts of Martin Perez yesterday getting ready for this start. Wonder what Felix Hernandez is thinking, knowing he'll face Mazzara and Odor, a couple of guys who took him yard last time he faced the Rangers. Tonight, it's the series opener. The division tilt, Rangers-Mariners coming up. Tonight, opening game of this 3-game series. We take a look at our Southwest batting order. The Rangers 4 wins, 5 losses. Carlos Gomez back at the top of the order again today. CHOO, Mazara, Napoli have been getting it done there in the middle. Elvis Andrus, though, right now leading the American League with that .794 slugging percentage. He bats 6th and Profar with a 3rd consecutive start tonight in left field, rounding out the order. Ready to go, and the first pitch is in there for strike 1 to Gomez. Game time temperature, I think I heard 50 degrees.
Feels like a little bit less than that. And it will get warmer as we go, right? Is that how it works?
That's exactly how it works. As soon as they crank up that heater underneath the desk, 1-1 to count to Carlos Gomez. Gomez hitting just 139 and hits this one high in the air. And a good there in right field, 1 away.
We'll take a look at what Felix Hernandez is featuring, and a little bit of change here so far in 2017. You see that fastball percentage at 45%. That is down for him. The curveball usage is up, as is the changeup. He has an excellent changeup. You just saw the curveball there to Carlos Gomez, and get used to seeing those breaking pitches. You see it so far this season, 48% from the curveball and the changeup being used a lot more than that fastball.
So he gets his first man, and now we'll go after CHOO and starts him off with ball 1. So why, you know, you're talking about one of the great pitchers in the game. Why would his arsenal have evolved so dramatically?
A little bit has to do with the velocity coming down. And we know that about him. He's no longer a mid-90s fastball. You see that one at 91. The first pitch to Carlos Gomez was 90. And that's more where King Felix lives these days. And so you make the adjustments. Now, he does a really good job of inducing soft contact. And that's because he's throwing the good off-speed pitches. I think that'll only get better this year. So I think it's a matter of preservation, being a little bit smarter as he has gotten older. He knows that the command has to be good with the fastball, and he'll even go out of the zone with it a little bit because he's trying to set up those breaking balls.
Well, he's ahead of CHOO here, 1 ball and 2 strikes. CHOO, though the average has not been where he would like it, getting on at a 343 clip. And it's 2-2.
And usually you'll see some guys, there has been a history. Tim Lincecum, CC Sabathia, some hard throwers as they get older or just as the velocity starts to come down. Lincecum wasn't that old when his velocity started coming down. There's an adjustment period. How do you become a little bit more of a pitcher and less of a thrower? And it's taken some guys longer than others, but King Felix really hasn't skipped a beat. He missed some time last year with some calf injuries, but there really hasn't been that adjustment period where he all of a sudden he was getting hit hard and couldn't figure out what was going on and trying to fight the velocity decrease. He has taken it in stride and made some really nice adjustments.
CHOO has battled back nicely. The 3-2 pitch, and he will get another.
Take a look here at what he has done. Now look at that usage of that fastball. That was the highest that he had ever used it in his career at 66%. The curveball way down at 90. I said he's a different pitcher, but it really did not take him long at all to figure that out and how to use it.
CHOO's going to see an 8th pitch in this at bat now. So another real strong effort. Great battle by CHOO, which is how you take a 258 batting average at this point of the season and turn that into a nearly 350 on base percentage. Just wear guys out. The court is ready. And they get their first strikeout. CHOO down swinging, 2 away.
Well, it's hard to believe when you see that good of a curveball to Shin-Soo Choo that there was a point in Felix Hernandez's career where he only used that less than 1 out of every 10 pitches. I mean, that is a really good breaking ball. It's late. It's not that it's a big breaking ball, but it's tight. He commands it really well. And the Rangers hitters are going to have to find a way to make contact with that pitch, not just tonight, but every other time they face him this year, because they're going to see a lot of that curveball and the changeup.
So it gets the first 2 hitters, and now Nomar Mazara. And goes right in there with strike 1. Mazara, 4th in the American League at 368. Good power numbers Those 11 RBIs, good for second most in the league. But he's in a hole here, 0-2.
Take a look here at the Mariners defense. JARROD DYSON, one of the many newcomers here in Seattle, getting a chance to play a little bit more than when he did when he was with the Kansas City Royals. Everybody kind of knew him as their kind of super pinch runner, utility runner, outfielder that they would use once in a while. But now some steady playing time for him here with the Mariners.
No balls, 2 strikes on Mazara. Real good looking swing right there on that one, but too far out in front.
There's new batting gloves there for Omar.
I have not noticed. Yeah, I've not noticed those fluorescent green ones before.
You can get those from Yoenis Cespedes. He's a fluorescent green guy.
The chopper over the mound. And third baseman SEAGER in position. His throw to first. Wow, Valencia kept his foot on. Or did he? Jeff Bannister holding out his hand. He may want to challenge this one.
And even Felix is standing out there talking to the home plate umpire with the idea Manny Gonzalez had there. Actually might be a chance that this gets reviewed.
And here we go. An opportunity for Adrian Beltre and Felix Hernandez to get after it already. And there's another look. His foot was on. And Jeff Bannister says, all right. Let's move on. A 1-2-3. Top of the first inning for Felix Hernandez. Martin Perez makes his way to the mound. First inning for Felix Hernandez. Now Martin Perez gets set to go. We take a look at the Mariners lineup. 2 wins, 8 losses. Very frustrating start up here in the Pacific Northwest. Guillermo Heredia leading things off. Mitch Haniger has been the real hot hand for them, batting second. CANO, Nelly Cruz in the middle there. Kyle Seager, the young third baseman, they got to keep your eye on today. And of course the change at shortstop with Tyler Motter taking over now. As the first pitch from Perez is high, ball 1.
And that's because Gene Segura, of course, is out, and one of the many acquisitions that they had. He's on the 10-day DL with the right hamstring strain. He'll be back in the league.
Well, flare out to right field. Mazara right there, and Heredia retired for out number 1.
Let's take a look here at what you're going to see tonight from Martin Perez and really what he has done so far this season. Kind of opposite of what we talked about with Felix Hernandez, the fastball usage at 66%. And it's that really strong changeup that Martin has. You'll see featuring the #1 kind of go-to off-speed pitch for him, and that is the way that he will try to neutralize those right-handed hitters. He does have 3 lefties tonight, 6 righties that he will be going up against.
Perez finds an inside corner, a little extra right there from plate umpire Manny Gonzalez. One low, 1-1 to Mitch Haniger, who in with just the .250 average, but he's been getting on base at a .375 clip. 6th in the league with 7 walks. So he has found his way on and has shown some pop with 3 home runs. This one out to right field, in there for a base hit.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. And here it is for your Texas Rangers, and pretty steady here. Joey Gallo still in there at third base as everyone kind of waits with bated breath and wondering when Adrian Beltre will be back out there. But Joey's done a really nice job. We've talked about it. Defensively, listen, no one's going to be able to hang with Adrian Beltre, but Joey's done a really nice job. And you see Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate. He had a day off yesterday. It was a day game in Los Angeles, or I guess in Anaheim, against the Angels, and now he's back out there with Martin Perez.
Where were we yesterday? I'm still struggling with that.
Warm and sunny.
A little bit different. CANO takes one down the middle for a strike, and here is the cornerstone around which they are trying to build things in Seattle. Just the 1 home run, 8 RBIs. And it's 1-1. We were showing Lucroy coming out of that defensive alignment, and Lucroy for the first time this season catching Martin Perez during a regular season game. And Chirinos had done a nice job there. We saw the flip-flop with Darvish and Chirinos pairing up yesterday for the first time. So mixing some things up. 2-1 the count now to Robinson Cano.
I really liked what Jeff Bannister said when he was talking about that before the game. You know, a lot of times you get into habits with teams and you hear about personal catchers, right? And it's fine when it works, but the problem is if somebody goes down, you have an injury, whatever may be going on, and then all of a sudden a guy who hasn't been catching a pitcher the entire year has to be thrown into that role, can be really difficult. He said every one of our pitchers is perfectly comfortable throwing to every one of our catchers, and that's a nice little option to have. We don't get pigeonholed into feeling like you have to have one catcher with one pitcher, you know, say every one time through the rotation or whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I do think we'll see managers more and more trying to get away from that old school sense of, oh, these two guys have to be paired, because so much anymore we play matchups on a day-to-day basis, so it's very important to have that flexibility. There's ball 4 to Cano. 2 men on here in the bottom of the first inning.
I'll tell you this, not only the flexibility, but the other thing you think about is, let's just say we'll use, you know, we don't maybe have the best example here because both guys are really good defensive catchers, right? But say you have a really weak hitting catcher as your second guy, but you know he catches your number 2 starter, and you get to the postseason and you realize you want the better bat in that lineup in that situation, and so you feel like you'd rather go to that guy. You just don't want to be stuck in that situation. So it's a really smart move by Jeff Bannister. Don't force the personal catcher situation as much as possible. It gives you some nice flexibility.
Well, Martin now in a little bit of trouble here in the first inning. The single to Haniger, the walk to Cano, and has to deal with Nelson Cruz. Cruz, you can see it has been a very slow start to 2017 for him. And one of those guys that they will count on quite a bit in Seattle. LUCROY out to talk it over.
They'll talk about it here, make sure they got the signs right, also make sure they have the game plan right. Now in his last start, Martin Perez made a lot of big pitches with runners on base. He was getting himself in a little bit of trouble, but he handled it really well. And so I think even though Nelson Cruz is struggling a little bit, it's still Nelson Cruz. And so they want to make sure they're on the same page.
Martin from the stretch. And he'll miss outside with the ball. Interesting for the Mariners, and they've done a nice job offensively, especially their last handful of games. They have only hit into 3 double plays. You figure a guy like Nelson Cruz is the type who would do it a handful of times. He has not yet. Ahead 2-0 here. But that is such a big part of Perez's game. Now, last year with the 36 ground ball double plays. And when he gets into these spots, that's the one I guess that's that one thing that really gives you hope that he can get out of a jam. Outfield very deep. A 2-0. And that one in there.
You saw Martin go change up to start off Nelson Cruz, and you look at the numbers going back to last season through 2016 and so far the start of 2017. He's been very good on the fastball from lefties, especially the one down and away. Very kind of atypical. We talked about it with Mike Trout against the Angels. 389 batting average on fastballs down and away for Nelson Cruz since the start of last year.
Well, he's put him in a good spot now. A 3-1 count. Cruz can pick out whatever he wants. Big crowd here in Seattle tonight. It's a celebration of baseball on this Friday evening in Seattle. We'll get into more of that in a bit. First, a big pitch from Perez coming. Here it is. And a bouncer third base. Gallo to second. They get one on the first. Two, double play. And he does get the double play, and he gets himself out of trouble in the first.
Really exactly what the doctor ordered, and it seems like Martin Perez might be more comfortable pitching with runners on base. A big pitch to Nelson Cruz, and like you mentioned, 5-4-3. We go to the second.
A brisk evening for baseball here in Seattle. No score as we head to this opener of a 3-game series between the Rangers and the Mariners. And you can add expert bat grip taper to the list of Mike Napoli's expertises. The young guys have latched on to Mike Napoli, and among the things they're trying to learn from him is how they can tape their bats just like Nap. He's tried to show guys like Jurickson Profar, Rougned Odor. Talked to him about it today, and he said, Jones, can you believe it? It's like I'm a dad. These are like my kids. So Mike Napoli embracing the dad role and teaching the guys how to tape those grips nice and tight, guys.
Got to pay it forward.
It's awesome, yeah.
It is awesome. I tell you what, I used to do that a little bit in minor leagues, and it could be a little bit of a handful for guys. Surprisingly, as a pitcher, some guys would actually let me do that.
You were the bat
once
taper?
in a while, and I actually was doing a bunch of it last week when I was home for my kids. Yeah, because it takes patience, and it can get a little tedious, and if something gets offline, start over.
It is true.
Again. I mean, can't have it be even a little bit crooked.
A comebacker off the bat of Napoli, and King Felix fields his position, one away.
But I'm surprised because most guys would prefer to do it themselves the way that they want it. There's a couple different ways, different styles, but the grips that they have now are also really cool. They almost kind of look like those tennis grips that you put on a tennis racket. Go with a little style these days, which is kind of nice. I was just plain white tape. fancy kids these days.
Well, looks like the batting gloves have taken off too, by the way, because we're seeing more of the highlighter colors.
Speaking of highlighters, you got enough over there?
Yeah, that's just enough. Got it. Well, almost exactly enough. 1, 2, 3.
You have 6 different colors. What are you doing over here?
I like the color.
You drawing something for us?
Pouncer, right side, and picked up by Robbie Cano. There we get Odor, and there are 2 gone quickly in the second inning, and Felix Hernandez looking pretty sharp in these early moments.
Well, he's going to have to deal with Elvis Andrus now, who had a really nice run when we were in Los Angeles playing the Angels. Just a great swing, locked in, power there. You see the great balance, and again, no doubters, but there's been so many off the bat that were not even questionable as soon as these guys were making contact, and they were enjoying every minute of it.
Well, and Elvis has as much familiarity with Felix Hernandez as anyone, not just on this Rangers team, but in the game. Nobody in baseball has faced Hernandez more often. Andrus, you can see, off to
That's a bad ratio there.
Start.
A little bit of bad ratio on the home runs and RBIs. Not his fault.
Yeah,
the RBI is a team-dependent stat. Nothing you can do about it. But 3 home runs, 3 RBIs, not ideal.
How dare you call him out on that?
It's not his fault. I said it wasn't his fault. Which I guess technically means I'm blaming everybody else, which I don't want to do either.
1-1. Well, Hernandez is right now commanding the strike zone. He has retired the first 5 he has faced, and now ahead of Andrus, a ball and 2 strikes. In the King's Court, they're getting excited down there in anticipation of potentially number 2. This one fouled off, and Andrus will see another. Adrian Beltre continuing to work his way back from his strained calf. And we're a ways off from seeing Adrian back out on the field. 1-2. This ball hit well out to left field. Heredia is back but has plenty of room, and the ball's not going to carry. And it completes a 1-2-3 top of the second inning for Felix Hernandez. So he's sharp out of the gate tonight.
One of the many beautiful sights here in Seattle, that is Bell Harbor. I'm not being on that Ferris wheel right now, though, Dave. Unless it's enclosed, I am out. How about tonight's TXU Energy Power Player to watch? And you take a look here in front of the plate right now. Kyle Seager with his 19 career home runs versus the Texas Rangers. Let's make sure we get out of here, and it's still 19.
Well, I think that's a pretty good plan. SEAGER still looking for his first of the year, in with a 212 average, and that's been a little bit of an issue. They have not gotten a whole lot of production from the middle of their order in these first handful of games in 2017. Perez misses downstairs. It's 3-0.
And you see Jonathan LUCROY trying to get that fastball down and away from Martin Perez against Kyle Seager. That is that typical lefty on lefty spot that you want to go, and Seager has been pretty weak in that area, just 207.
Well, he draws a 4-pitch walk, second walk surrendered by Perez. And that's one of those things you keep an eye on. Martin had allowed 7 walks in 11 1/3 innings coming into play tonight. And already 2 free passes. And we'll deal with Taylor Motter. And pretty good numbers, albeit in just 6 games for Motter. He's up there swinging. Motter taking over as the everyday shortstop, although, as you mentioned, Jean Segura not expected to be out a great deal of time with this disabled list stint. Now the new 10-game disabled list this year. 1-1 the count.
I think that's been good for the game. I think the idea of that 10-day disabled list protects players, right? You get guys that maybe you're borderline and going on the DL, and you give them a couple extra days maybe, and it kind of hurts the team. The 10-day, I think, makes it a lot easier for minor injuries, and then I think teams are a little bit more cautious and a little bit more protective now.
Smash down to third. Gallo to second again. Can Odor turn it? He does. Another double play, and Martin Perez dials it up when he needs it. 2 gone.
It's really incredible. Motter hit this ball pretty hard, but Martin Perez, again, back-to-back starts, and I know it's only the second inning, but gets himself in a little bit of trouble. Walks, base hit, whatever it may be, but he gets himself out of trouble, and he makes those big pitches, and you almost wonder a little bit. You think about the at-bat to Kyle Seager. Lefty on lefty, the advantage should be there for Martin Perez, and he ends up walking him to lead off the inning on 4 pitches, struggles with the fastball command, and you just wondered to get a little bit more locked in mentally. It's certainly, I think, something that a lot of guys run into over the years, where when there's a guy on base and the heat gets turned up a little bit, focus gets a little bit better, execution of pitches gets a little bit better, as Martin's a little frustrated with that call.
And Danny Valencia playing first base tonight, batting 7th for the Mariners. No score, bottom of the second inning, and it's 2-0. So Perez has managed 2 double plays so far tonight. That has helped immensely, but you can see his next pitch will be his 25th. He has not been in the zone a whole lot here early on. Continuing to fall behind hitters. And the 2-0 pitch. This ball shanked foul out of play.
No, you're right. It's only been 35% strikes up to this point for Martin Perez, and that number is very low. On the flip side of that, Felix Hernandez, 71% strikes so far tonight.
2-2. So the bottom of the order right now for the Mariners with 2 out and nobody on. Perez looking for his first strikeout, just misses with that fastball, and it's a full count.
And it has seemed like Manny Gonzalez might have a little bit of a higher strike zone. I think what we saw, at least from Felix, a couple of high strikes called, and the ones at the knees, at least so far, that was a ball, it was below the zone, but the point being is I don't think he's even giving much at all below.
This ball hit well left field, and Profar into a dive makes the play. How about that one? That was an odd-looking dive at that. But the inning is over, and Perez faces the minimum in the second. So 2 scoreless in the books tonight. Warn you to get ready. The first Throwback Thursday will be April 20th. Rangers and the Royals. First 10,000 fans will receive a Papa John's Texas Rangers Throwback Thursday collector pin. On this date only, fans will also receive a replica 1972 Rangers cap. So get your tickets, TexasRangers.com, or by calling 972-RANGERS. Jonathan Lucroy, and he takes strike one from Hernandez. It'll be Lucroy, Joey Gallo, and Jurickson Profar in this third inning. So Lucroy off a day of rest yesterday. Falls in a hole here, 0-2. And that'll get him up again out in the King's Court. That's funny, all those yellow shirts, they just sit there calmly, watching the game like anybody else. But boy, you get to 2 strikes and up they go. A little flare off the handle.
Wow.
Kind of a tough play for Valencia. A little squibber, and he does take care of it for out number 1.
That's not something you see every day. And that was set up by the really good breaking ball before that from Felix Hernandez, and the fastball in. The ball just not carrying to first base tonight. As Jonathan Lucroy gets jammed. That's great execution. And listen, those are frustrating at bats, but again, you're going up against Felix Hernandez. You tip your cap, you say, man, he worked me pretty good right there. And I think what he has to look for going forward is knowing, understanding that breaking ball and how he's going to try to use it. And that was a good thing.
All right, now Joey Gallo. And Gallo takes a strike. You said what, Hernandez was in the strike zone over 70% of the time here in the early going, and he's 0-2 here on Gallo.
He's pounding his own, and again, it's been so, for me, fascinating to watch as the guy's stuff is coming out. It's not, listen, he's not all of a sudden throwing 85 and, you know, he's a thumber. We saw Jerry Weaver's velocity go way down to the low 80s. It's not that, but it's just been a little bit slightly diminished.
Fly ball center field, long run for DYSON, and he can't get to it. All the way to the fence, and Gallo into second base with a 1-out double. The Rangers had their first base runner of the night, and that ball really well struck.
We'll tell you this, off the bat, you're thinking it's going to be a double no matter what, but when JARROD DYSON is out there, you kind of have to hold your breath a little bit and wait, because the guy absolutely flies. Now, you see him in a little bit, shaded toward first. His route actually wasn't that great. That ball ended up finishing a little bit past him. You see him, he was in just a tiny bit. And that ball was well struck by Joey Gallo. And a good pitch, too, from King Felix. That ball was down and away. It's a good pitch. I think that just really speaks to where Joey Gallo is right now, how comfortable, locked in, and probably more important than anything, how confident he is right now.
Yeah, Profar now. Low average. That on-base percentage going up a little bit as he started to be a little more patient, take a couple of walks here and there. Got a 9th. And it's 1-1.
By the way, prior to that pitch, and it's early, it's only 32 pitches, or through this first 31, 77% strikes from King Felix. But there is something as being in the zone a little bit too much, too, and you have to be somewhat careful in the game plan here. What we understood from the Rangers a little bit was that King Felix had actually been putting that fastball on the corners and out of the zone, and it was really the breaking stuff that you would see in the strike zone.
Now it's 1-2.
And to back that up, every ball that he has thrown tonight has only been a fastball.
Oh, is that right?
Every curveball, every slider, every changeup has been a strike.
Profar batting at the left side. Switch hitter against the righty Hernandez. Gallo with the lead, and this ball out to left field. Heredia, though, positioned perfectly, and there are 2 away. Time for us to take a Chevy game break as we send it back to John Radigan. All right, thanks, John. No score here. Top of the 3rd inning, and now the lineup turned over As Carlos Gomez will get a second look at Hernandez.
This was interesting. Took a look at Carlos Gomez and his home runs. He's got 3 so far. 2 of them have come on 0 counts. First pitch, as he goes hacking right there and gets jammed. A good fastball from Phillies.
And they've broken his bat as well, and that putout ends whatever Rangers threat was starting to brew in the 3rd inning. Things so far. Hey, Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Girls on the Run and their dedication to empowering young girls and instilling confidence through running. Learn more about how you can get involved as a volunteer or a participant at the upcoming Girls on the Run 5K in your area. Just visit foxsportssupports.com. Bottom of the 3rd inning, and Martin Perez misses with his first offering to Mike ZUNINO, batting 8th. For the Mariners tonight. After a great spring, a lot of high hopes that ZUNINO might finally be, I don't know, arriving for the Mariners. But it has been a tough start for him. The 1-1 pitch. He won't chase it. 2-1.
When we watch Martin tonight, we've seen some of the struggles there with the fastball, and there's been a lot of cut. I think more than he's wanted, and he's had a little bit of an issue controlling it.
He gets a swing and a miss. And that'll even the count at 2-2. See
the breakdown right there. More balls than strikes. Not ideal, but you take 2 shutout innings any way you can get them. And what you like about that, and that Martin has got the double plays and get out of it, is that you feel like he'll work through it. We've seen it before from him, and when you're struggling to get comfortable, maybe that fastball's cutting more than you want, you're missing with your changeup down, the things that we have seen tonight, but you're still putting up the zeros, you feel like he'll eventually come out of it.
And he gets his first strikeout of the night as ZUNINO watches a beauty. 1 away in the 3rd.
Well, this was much better location of the fastball, as we talked about. Even though Jonathan Lucroy wanted that middle in, or as far as thigh high in, up and into a righty is always a good spot. Never going to get hurt up there, and we mentioned it earlier. Manny Gonzalez kind of calling that high strike. We're seeing a lot of that tonight, so we'll take that pitch all day long. Nobody's going to be able to get to that one.
A bunt attempt by JARROD DYSON, and he fouls off strike 1. DYSON, see, just a 152 average. A lot of sub 200 batting averages in this Mariners lineup.
You do wonder a little bit, when they acquired him from the Kansas City Royals a year ago, it was the most playing time he had had. 337 plate appearances last year. That was a career high, and he got on base at a 340 clip, also a career high. But JARROD DYSON has never really been a full-time starter, and I think the Mariners thought, man, if you get that speed, get him at the top of the lineup and get him on base, he could do a lot of damage, wreak a lot of havoc. But 32 years old so far, off to a slow start.
Perez to the plate and a little tight. 3-1 to DYSON. Martin has allowed two walks so far today. This is one guy, to your point. You know, if you're going to walk the occasional guy, here's a guy to avoid walking, and he evens the count, rather brings the count full with that strike. You don't want this speed out there if you can avoid it. There's the payoff and a broken bat flare to short. Andrus had to wait on it. Throws over the first in time, and DYSON erased. 2 gone. Hey,
that's what we need.
I like that.
That's not attached to his hat, right?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
No, it can't be.
It looks like it is.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. Now, usually guys wear the, what are those things called? The ski mask, right? They know, they're familiar with them here in Seattle, right? You wear them all the time.
Yeah.
I tell you, it was always fun, though. Honestly, when you play in the cold weather, that part's not fun. But it is fun watching your teammates from Latin America, because they struggle with the cold more than anybody else. They absolutely hate it. I don't like it either, but it is funny. These guys don't enjoy it at all.
Fly ball out of the short right, and Mazara is there, and it's a 1-2-3 for Martin Perez. So both pitchers cruising early today, scoreless through 3. Tonight we go to the 4th, and hey, that guy right there, Andrew Cashner, he'll be making his first start tomorrow. We take a look at our AT&T pitching matchup for tomorrow's game. Cashner and James Paxton, who has yet to give up an earned run in his first 2 starts. So that should be a fun one tomorrow.
And without a doubt, there's some high expectations for Andrew Cashner this year. His ability to contribute to what should be a very deep starting rotation once everyone is healthy, including Tyson Ross, as he's talking with pitching coach Doug Brocail. I got to imagine he's excited. Does not matter how long you've been around. You're always excited for your season debut.
First pitch in there for a strike to CHOO.
The beard's got to be kind of a natural warmer as well, right? As we see a couple there with A.J. Griffin as well.
I think it would help.
It's got it, right? You can have it in the summer, though. No chance.
Ooh. 1-1 to CHOO. And by the way, there was a fastball that missed. So still on point with that. Anytime Hernandez has missed the strike zone, continues to be only with the fastball. Oh,
there's an off-speed pitch, and there was actually, inside edge is telling me, 1 curveball.
Okay.
Was also out of the strike zone. but still an incredible percentage all the way around here for King Felix so far through 3+ innings.
Well, it'll be interesting to see now as he goes to the lineup for a second time what changes, if anything. Bouncing ball into that shift. Robinson Cano deep in the outfield makes the play. One gone in the 4th. Rangers getting together with the Kansas City Royals Saturday, April 22nd. It's a 7:05 game out of Globe Life Park. And fire up the grill. First 15,000 fans 14 and older will be treated to a Rangers barbecue die-cut spatula courtesy of Lynx. Go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets today.
I'd like to see that bumped up a little bit. 14 and older?
Yeah. You think it should be older?
How many 15 and 16-year-olds are barbecuing? It's for the old timers. 35 and over. You never see those, right? When are those promotions coming out?
It's a starter spatula. You got to get. It's a gateway spatula.
Look like a big boy spatula to me.
Well, here's Mazzara. Speaking of big boys, 0 for 1 today, and he bounces this one into the shift and a diving stop by Motter. He'll throw out Mazzara. 2 away.
It'll go down as a 6-3, but that was a ground ball. It's pretty much just straight away second base, but because of the shift, Motter is there, has to go to his left, and he goes full extension. And the one thing that the shift does a lot of things. One of the things it does, it kind of creates some awkward throws and awkward angles. For a lot of these guys are playing way more shifts up at the big league level than they are at the minor league level. Much more information available, but Motter did a good job of getting to that ball and making a good throw.
Oh, 2 out. It brings up Mike Napoli. And he takes ball 1. I could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong on occasion. But it seems like there is a 3 infielder shift. That is to say, 3 infielders on either side of the infield for every hitter so far. Seattle, it seems like, shifting a lot. And it's 1-1 to Napoli. I'm trying to think if there's anybody they've played more or less straight up.
They are obviously on it. They're trying to be ahead of the curve. You've got certain teams that will really use those shifts as much as possible. We talked about it a couple years ago, or last year I should say, with the Astros leading in shifts used, but the data told us they actually came out in the short end of the stick. When you look at hits prevented by the shift and hits allowed by the shift, they were a -22.
That ball shifted a little too far in on Napoli and hit him. He'll go to first base. Yeah, so the Astros used all that data more than anybody, but it didn't help.
Take a look real quick at this.
Got him on the elbow.
Instant replay. Mike Napoli reacted right away. I'll tell you this, as a pitcher, the frustration there is because the catcher still caught the ball. So you may have nicked him. Did that really hit him? You know, if the catcher could still catch the ball, Felix Hernandez is probably thinking he did not hit Mike Napoli, but home plate umpire Manny Gonzalez was all over it.
That there's no way you could see that, right? I mean,
no.
that's you just hear that. That's all you really have. Rougned Odor lifts this one high in the air to center field. Playable for DYSON. And Felix Hernandez with 4 scoreless so far tonight, holding this Rangers offense in check.
A couple of times here early on, but he got himself out of trouble. Some ground balls that turned into double plays. They were both 5-4-3. Joey Gallo going to his left once, then to his right. Ruben Odor with the great turns and the throws, and that's the way you put out fires, even the ones that you've created yourself. And that brings us to our power stats, brought to you by Kubota. And you see those 51 double play groundouts since 2015 from Martin Perez, the most, excuse me, second most in Major League Baseball. I tried to make it the best. Second's still pretty good.
Second's great, man. Well, bottom of the fourth inning, and 1-1 to count to Mitch Haniger, who has the only hit so far tonight for the Mariners. It was a single in the first inning. Eventually a walk to Robinson Cano pushed him to second base. And in fact, both teams have managed to get a runner as far as second, but that is it. 2-1 to Haniger. So Martin Perez and his mound opponent tonight, Felix Hernandez, both have pitched quite well. Haniger sends this one high in the air, deep right field. Back there is GÓMEZ, and he'll make the catch near the wall. Ooh, that had you holding your breath there for a moment.
Absolutely, this is a nice play, excuse me, by Carlos GÓMEZ. And the thing about baseball is every field is different, right? So every wall is different. It's not like you can just run like it's a football field. Everything's the same shape and size. And so Carlos GÓMEZ knows that wall's coming in a little bit as it goes straight out from that 380 and then all the way to dead center. And so he had to pace himself, make sure that he had enough room. And he continues to do a really nice job. And you see him pointing to his eyes right there as he's looking over to right field and Jurickson Profar. And that's them kind of telling each other it's not completely dark here yet. Some of these balls can get up in the sky and be difficult to see, and so that's kind of the sign to say, hey, a little tough to see right now. Let's make sure we're helping each other out.
And Cano shoots it foul in the count 0-2. Cano walked back in the first inning. And one of the guys, when you come into town, there are probably any given time of year, two names you pick out of this lineup and say, all right, make sure that he doesn't beat you. And the man waiting on deck, Nelson Cruz. 2-strike pitch, and he wouldn't chase. Yeah, there he is, former Ranger.
Well, the anticipation here in Seattle with the construction of this lineup, as much as there have been additions, it's the middle of the lineup. Cano, Cruz, Seager. There would be a lot of damage done this year. These guys have gotten off to a slow start collectively, but still a lot of time here during the season. That's going to be a middle of the lineup. It's going to be very difficult to contend with.
More of a straight up alignment for the Rangers against Robinson Cano. You see, look at that. Two infielders on the left, two on the right. And it's low, a full count on Cano.
Old school.
It's almost enough to disorient a guy. The outfield is straight up. That two, though, tells you a little bit about the hitter. Cano, a good one in that regard as he swings and misses. And that's the second strikeout for Martin Perez.
Man, how about Martin Perez right there? 96 miles an hour on our radar gun. He just reaches back in this full count and trying to go away, and the ball finished middle. And Robinson Cano asked Manny Gonzalez, was that pitch a strike? The answer was 100% yes. That ball was right down the middle.
So now Cruz, who hit into that big double play in the first inning. And he takes a strike. You know, that double play, that was particularly big. 2 men on, only 1 out of the first inning. And maybe you would have some thought on this, but as a starting pitcher sometimes, you know, you might be on the precipice in that first inning.
No doubt about it. You think about back against the wall, being a little bit uncomfortable. You see it from Martin Perez, but like I said, we've seen this from him. He's good. He has been good this year. When he's in trouble, he bears down, makes the pitches that he needs to make, gets the ground ball. Now, there's also a luck component there that those balls were hit pretty close to Joey Gallo when he had a shot at him and made some really nice plays.
Yep, Gallo's done a nice job down there. Perez making the pitches so far tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes on CRUZ. Fourth time that Martin has faced the Mariners, and starts against his fellow countryman Felix Hernandez, and he has always won. He is 3-0 in starts against Hernandez, and today has had to match a good Felix Hernandez, because the right-hander for the Mariners has looked very sharp in the first 4 tonight.
It's starting to feel like one of those games where it's who's going to break first. Now these guys are doing it a little bit differently, where Felix Hernandez has been pretty dominant right out of the chute, but Martin Perez, to me, it's like he is starting to get locked in as well.
A full count now on CRUZ. CRUZ has very good power. Homers so far this year, and he taps this one foul, keeps the at-bat going. I say, when you come to town, one of the guys you earmark in the scouting report is Nelson Cruz. Well, it doesn't matter. Right-handed, left-handed, he doesn't discriminate. 43 home runs last year, had 44 the year prior. And he shoots this ball center field. GÓMEZ back, and that's gone. So there's the first of the year for Nelson Cruz, and Seattle draws first blood tonight.
You talked about the power from Nelson Cruz, and left-handed, right-handed pitcher, it doesn't matter. Martin Perez, as he's done a lot tonight, put himself in a tough count, 3-2. He was able to get his fastball by Robinson Cano in that count, unable to get it by Nelson Cruz in the same 3-2 count.
You know, even off the bat, I didn't get the sense that that was a no-doubter. Well, that's a big part of the yard out there. But it held up for him, gets out, 1-0 Seattle, and now Kyle Seager. Seager walked in the second inning, had a big power year last year. And it is 2-0. That's the third time in Nelson Cruz's career that he has taken Martin Perez deep. He came in 5 for 10 against Martin with 2 home runs. This ball hammered out to right field. Diving stop Odor, the long throw, but Napoli couldn't hold the bag. What a play by Odor.
This is a great job to get a glove on this and to even give himself a shot at throwing Kyle Seager out. Watch out, look how far over to the right he is. His full extension pops up, has to throw it from one knee, does not have time to get all the way up. But this is a tough throw for Rougned Odor. Gave it everything he had. Was up the line just a little bit. And that's why Knapp couldn't hold the bag.
All right, so second time through the order, and the Mariners making some contact on Perez. Tyler Motter due up next. That was a good play, Rugi. He just couldn't quite get the out. So a man on. Motter grounded into a double play in the second. Perez runs this one low and in.
We heard Martin Perez talking before the game with Emily, an interview from yesterday about pace and how he had talked with Robinson Chirinos about keeping a good pace, but then also when things start happening, make sure that you don't start going too fast. And you see that pitch right there where he cut that fastball across. I think Doug Borkale probably saw the same thing that I think I saw, which was a guy where all of a sudden the wheels are going a little bit faster, a lot of thoughts are going through your head, and maybe it was an overthrow. You go out there, you give him a little bit of a deep breath after a couple of hard hit balls and make sure that he's staying composed and locked in and not overthrowing, because with that natural cut that he does have on that fastball, you overthrow it, you miss a spot, you're asking for some trouble when you're facing a right-handed hitter.
He readies. He deals low, and it goes back to the part of the conversation from this World Baseball Classic. What in particular did Martin Perez pick up from Felix Hernandez? Well, it all came back down to controlling emotions, staying within yourself, not letting things get away from you. Challenged right here. This one fouled off to make it 2-1. These are those spots where he gets tested. Pitched very well tonight. He's gotten some defense behind him. The 2-1 to Motter is a strike. Even things up now. Motter's had a real good go of it here lately. A 357 average coming in. He's taken over the everyday job at short, at least on this interim basis, while Gene Segura gets healthy. 25th pitch of the inning, and a comebacker. That one through. So a base hit for Motter. Seager holds it second, and that's 3 consecutive hits for the Mariners.
And after he got 2 quick outs, it looked like Martin Perez was starting to get comfortable and get settled in. This is a tip of the cap, though, to Taylor Motter for me. You look at this pitch, pretty well located down. That ball did not cut. Good movement. We didn't hit it very hard, but we stayed on it and hit it right back up the middle. Talking to Casey Candell.
Looks like getting some advice from Casey Candell. And there's a little wry smile on Casey's mouth, which not at all shocking. Seager at second. Motter at first now. And here's Valencia. I'll take ball 1. You played with Casey Candell, didn't you?
One of the many on the Seattle Mariners coaching staff that I was fortunate to call teammates. At one point, it was years ago, I want to say 1995 in AAA, Indianapolis, one of the great characters of the game. I played Mike Hampton, the bullpen coach here, Tim Bogard, the bench coach. Spent a spring training with Scott Service, the manager here with the Rangers back in 2003.
Perez looks back to second, but Seager well ahead of it.
I feel like we've seen a lot of those from the Rangers this year. We saw Yu Darvish, of course, get his first pick off of the year, of his career at second base, and he's keeping guys a little bit closer. You know, as we talk about this, watch Rougned Odor, tap, time it. You kind of watch the pitcher on that one. You read the runner. Remember, it's not always about just trying to pick a guy off, but keep him close.
Well, this one skips away from Jonathan Lucroy, and everybody will advance. A wild pitch puts Seager at third and Motter at second.
This pitch looked like it bounced a few feet in front of home plate. Look at that. You don't see that too often. That is a tough block for Jonathan Lucroy, and did everything he absolutely could. He was set up away. That ball cut back in, but just extremely short as well. And I want to talk right now. Keep Martin Perez calm. You have a 2-0 count. There's only 1 run that's in on that Nelson Cruz home run. You do not want things to get out of hand right now. You don't want him overthrowing, making a mistake. So you just try to get him back on track, get him focused on the glove. Right, that was something Martin Perez has talked about a lot, is picking up his focus points and getting a little bit more locked in.
So becoming a big spot here. Valencia ahead 2-0. All of this happening with 2 outs. A pitch from Perez. Outside.
This is interesting, and this may have been part of the conversation with Jonathan Lucroy and whether or not they want to give in to Danny Valencia. They're already behind the count at 2-0, now 3-0. You got to wonder, listen, you never like putting runners on, but would they be more comfortable starting over with Mike Zunino?
There's the strike, 3-1. Well, he got out of a jam in the first inning with a double play. Raced a leadoff walk in the second with a double play, but he has 2 outs here. He just used a ground ball, get his team back in the dugout with just the 1 run allowed. Mariners though threatening for more. 3-1 inside, and so they are loaded.
Now you think walk to load the bases, and would that make you a little anxious? I actually like the play there. I know you're not comfortable with the bases loaded, but Danny Valencia, going back to the start of last year, hitting .313 against left-handed pitching with 7 home runs. Mike Zunino, just a 190 batting average in that same amount of time with 3 home runs. So this is the better matchup for Martin Perez. Now the downside is there have been some command issues. He's got no place to put Mike Zunino, so he has to go right after him.
Now, 3rd walk that Perez has allowed tonight. So happens to Valencia had a lot more familiarity and success against Perez head-to-head. Zunino takes strike 1, and we saw Zunino. It's the 4th time already this year that he has come up with the bases loaded.
Here's a really good pitch by Martin Perez, painted down and away.
And now finds inside corner. 0-2 the count to Zunino.
He has really come on strong again. We continue to talk about what he has done with runners on base, and this might have been a little bit off the plate, but look at Jonathan LUCROY. Just quiet movement, just a little bit to give it a better look, and he gets his pitcher that call.
And the Mariner at every base. The 0-2. Got him swinging. 3rd strikeout tonight for Martin Perez, and he leaves him loaded in the 4th. Now Seattle gets on the board. The home run by Nelson Cruz. Martin battles back as we go to the 5th.
Seattle here as the Rangers trail the Mariners by a score of 1-0 in the top of the 5th inning. Folks, every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics, Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, weekdays from 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central, only on FS1. Still got good hands, Dave.
Yeah, you do.
I dropped that as I was reading it, and I got a little bit of assistance, but yes, I caught it. So
I'm impressed. It's all that work in the weight room.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see you there this morning.
No, I didn't make it down there. I just heard you.
Emily was there.
Of course you were.
On the treadmill, getting after it, doing her thing.
Well, we get going here in the 5th inning. Elvis Andrus picks one up and in. Andrus flied out in the 2nd inning. His buddy defending him. Hernandez has been awfully good so far tonight. Check swing foul, and it's 1-1.
And that's a good indicator where Felix Hernandez is right now. That's a 1-0 count. Elvis Andrus should be in the driver's seat, but you see the late check swing. Gives you a little bit of an idea of the late movement on that pitch from Felix.
Bouncer 3rd base. Seager waits on it. makes the throw to first, and there's one away in the 5th inning. Well, I swear, a lot of these little ground balls on the infield seem like they're breaking bats too.
He has been good on the corners, without a doubt. And I mentioned it. This is what King Felix does now. It is not about the strikeouts, right? What has it been? 1 so far tonight through 4 1/3. It's about weak contact. And really, I mean, that is pitching one-on-one. That is ultimately what the goal is. Yes, we're seeing strikeouts go through the roof right now, but your job is to keep the baseball off the barrel of the bat. You do that consistently without walking guys, and a lot of good things are going to happen. And King Felix realizes that at this point in his career. He is still yet to walk a hitter this season.
Another bounce with third base. Another play for SEAGER. 2 gone. So Joey Gallo, who has the only hit tonight for the Rangers, steps in with 2 away. Of course, the Mariners, they got their run last inning, and it all started with 2 outs. And it was one of their big power threats, Nelson Cruz. Now Gallo has as much power as anyone wearing a Rangers uniform, takes a strike. Tight, 1-1. Gallo with 9 RBIs, 4th in the American League. Big rip. Now 1-2 the count. And Gallo was double in the 3rd inning. That's as far as any Ranger has managed so far tonight. You've seen the good Felix Hernandez, the 1-2 pitch, and that ball is roped. Well, they wanted it up, and Hernandez put it up there. But he didn't fool Gallo.
No, he did not. We talked about it. He's locked in. He's seeing the ball well. Emily mentioned this in our last broadcast. A little bit more of an open stance, which is helping him see the ball a lot better.
2-2. We see him. He seems very calm, even with 2 strikes. Last year before, you know, he might jump at a pitch with 2 strikes. A lot more selective now. Now the court is up again. Only 1 strikeout so far. The 2-2, that is outside. So a full count.
And Felix Hernandez is probably wondering a little bit and saying, I thought the report on Joey Gallo was that he chases out of the zone, but he has done a nice job taking those last 2. And Felix knows he's got to come in the strike zone here.
Payoff pitch. Called strike 3. Well, Gallo paused for a moment, had a word for Manny Gonzalez. I don't think he agrees. 2nd strikeout of the night for Felix Hernandez. The King has the court happy tonight. Jarrod Dyson starts it off for Seattle, and he takes strike one from Martin Perez. Martin eager to get right back up there and throw it again. So here it comes. It's 0-2.
I think that's that pace. He understands that, and maybe they saw something. That's why we saw the conversation with Doug Brocail and also Jonathan Lucroy earlier, and start getting comfortable, especially after that 3-pitch strikeout the inning before, and make sure you're keeping a good pace.
2-strike offering. Bouncer, weakly hit right side. Tough play with the glove flip. Not in time. Wow. Nothing Odor could do right there. And a remarkable effort.
Well, there was a famous line by Jarrod Dyson a couple of years ago when the Kansas City Royals were playing in the World Series, and he said, "That's what speed do." That's exactly how he said it, and that is what speed do right there. Because Rougned Odor, under any other circumstances, is probably taking a little bit more time, maybe shoving that with his bare hand or underhand with that little shovel pass, but he knew he was not going to have enough time to do that, and so he tried to backflip it. Everything he had, and Jarrod Dyson was just barely safe.
So the lead man on, and yeah, you got to check in with him. A couple of steals already this year for Dyson. Well, that's twice tonight where Odor has made really spectacular efforts, but has not been able to get his man. Right in there for a strike to Heredia, who's 0 for 2. Twice he has hit fly balls to right field. Now, Odor made a real nice play last inning on a ball hit by Kyle Seager, but just missed getting him. That was a really nifty effort on Dyson. One and one on Heredia now, with the dangerous Mitch Haniger waiting to be next. So it's a 1-0 game, but Martin Perez has himself a little situation in this 5th inning. Of course, anytime you let that 9th place hitter get on, it changes the dynamics. And it's 2 balls and a strike on Heredia. Heredia came in 0 for 3. Very limited time. At the start in left, batting leadoff, and bounces one second base. Odor to second. They get one, and no throw back to first.
You'll take that out at second. This one was shaping up to be an extremely difficult turn, and you kind of wondered a little bit whether or not Odor was going to be comfortable going to second base because of the high chopper. But he takes his time and gives Elvis Andrus a good throw. Elvis makes a smart decision not to try to do too much and turn that double play. They would not have had a chance.
So now Haniger. He's 1 for 2. A very crisp, cool night tonight here in Seattle. Game time temperature is 50 degrees. Yeah, just to give you an idea.
That looks like a really soft blanket.
It does. It's comfy.
At that point, no one take it to the house, right? You know you got to go that big of a blanket by the 5th inning. It's fun being here at the ballpark, but just as fun listening to Dave Sims if you're in this market in Seattle watching the game.
But if you get a nice warm blanket, might be comfortable.
Well, the better play is actually the MLB at Bat app. So you can listen to Dave Raymond and CJ Nikowski on Fox Sports Southwest. That's the way to do it.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. I realize I love Dave Sims, but can't be having people. Can't be encouraging people to listen to him when we're on air as well.
Yeah, we're working. Heredia with a decent lead. And the pitch foul back. 1-1.
And speaking of the MLB.com at-bat, make sure you follow Rangers Baseball Live with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long with game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. I'd like to add in favorite announcers as well. It says favorite players. Sure, that's available.
Sure, right. Well, that's a good point. Little tapper foul by Haniger, and count a ball and 2 strikes. Now Martin, he had to work in the 4th inning. What was it, 35 pitches in the 4th.
And you see him up at 86, and so Dario Alvarez is now up in that Seattle Mariners Texas Rangers bullpen. The pitch count creeps up. Don't want to let it get out of control here. For some reason, this starts to turn into a high pitch count inning. Jeff Bannister may have to go to his bullpen.
Check swing, called strike 3, and Haniger down looking, 3 strikeouts. Pardon me, 4 now tonight for Martin Perez.
This is great execution of the fastball, and it seems like every time they feel like they have a chance to finish off a right-handed hitter, Jonathan Lucroy is trying to get Martin Perez to bring that fastball in. He's done a pretty good job of it. There have been times where we've seen him missing and ball cutting a little bit, but when he's tried to go in under the hands of right-handed hitters, he's been pretty strong there tonight.
All right, so 2 out now. A 1-0 Seattle lead, bottom of the 5th inning. Rangers have been held to 1 hit so far. Mariners have 5. Runner going, and a foul ball. Sending back to first.
So I told you the story before we went on there because I'm never going to worry about interviewing for a scout's position. I played with Robinson Cano in the minor leagues, and we were in AAA with the Yankees, and at one point there were some rumors circulating about him maybe potentially being traded, him being trade bait. I'd been with him for a couple of weeks and watched him play, and I was like, eh.
And is this AA, AAA?
AAA.
Okay, AAA.
2004, I was like, eh, I'd trade him. Yeah, go ahead. I wouldn't worry about it. It's a good thing they didn't ask me.
1 strike pitch. Chopper, first base side. Napoli will go to the bag himself, and the inning is over. So the Mariners leave another man. Ooh, yeah, that's a little bit better than the blanket. Beautiful scene tonight here in Seattle. Slam inning brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Today's jackpot is worth $1,000 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Today the Rangers are hitting for Patty Smithart of Fort Worth. If a Ranger hits a home run this inning, well, she'll win $1,000. But if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, well, Patty will win $25,000.
Ranger fans are kind of wondering what's going on here. We showed it in the open. most home runs in the American League. But that jackpot continues to build. Timing is everything.
Well, that's been the real oddity, of course, is that they have hit so many home runs, leading the American League, 18 of them. They have homered in every game so far, and yet have not hit one in the 6th inning as Profar takes strike one. So maybe that changes tonight.
Maybe, or maybe we'll go down to like $16,000 by the end of the year.
Maybe you'll get to the point where you'd rather have a home run than a grand slam.
Almost.
That would be crazy. 1-strike pitch. Rangers also, if they get a home run tonight, it would tie a franchise record for most consecutive games to open a season with a home run. In 2009, they opened the season with homers in 10 straight. They're running short on time tonight against Felix Hernandez in the count 1-2. Jurickson Profar.
Take a look at what the Rangers are doing around the American League and running the table. When you look at the runs, the home runs, the slugging percentage. It's been a very good start to the season in the power department for this club.
Tonight, haven't had a whole lot doing against Felix Hernandez, though. The righty's 1-2 pitch, and that one sent over third, drops in, base hit. And a tough play down in the corner. Heredia almost lost that, but ran it right up into the wall and prevents Profar from taking more than one base.
This was not Heredia's fault. This ball just took a really weird hop as it hit. You see Jurickson Profar head down, going the other way. But watch the bounce here. Just a little bit to the right. That's a good reaction by Heredia. A lot of guys sometimes get a little bit lazy. These fields are so well manicured. The bounces are very consistent. But that ball must have had a little bit of funky spin on it as it kicked to the left. And had that gotten by him, that probably would have been a triple. Yeah,
that was a huge play right there by Heredia. And now a bunt popped up, and it's bobbled. ZUNINO couldn't find it, and so everybody is safe. GÓMEZ at first, Profar at second base.
Well, what a break for the Rangers. I think when Carlos Gómez saw that ball pop off of his bat, he thought maybe that was going to be a pop out. Nobody could get to it, but you're going to see Mike ZUNINO as he comes out and trying to direct traffic a little bit. Watch him pointing and talking and putting his hands up and saying, I got it. But the way that, watch the backspin, right? That is because, first of all, it looks like me on the golf course. I got a lot of nice and down. But no, what it was so much backspin. Look at Carlos watching that baseball. But because he got so far underneath it, there was a ton of backspin on it. And Mike ZUNINO cannot anticipate that kind of spin. So the ball taking some weird bounces here in the 6th inning for the Rangers.
Pretty clever. Most guys wouldn't think of popping it up and putting a lot of spin on it like that.
I mean, you're usually trying to get the top half of that ball and hit it to the ground. And Carlos Gómez may be starting a new trend.
So now CHOO takes ball one. But all joking aside now, the Rangers in a really good spot all of a sudden. They've had nothing going against Felix Hernandez tonight, but you have Profar out in scoring position at second and Carlos Gómez at first. Nobody out. That one a little tight. 2 balls, no strikes on CHOO, who was struck out and grounded out in his first 2 times tonight. CHOO did good battle in the first inning before ultimately striking out. Let's see what he has done against Hernandez in his career. 3-0, and ZUNINO will trot it out to the mound. Actually, he'll just get a new baseball for Hernandez.
So we haven't seen it yet. Felix Hernandez has not walked a hitter this season. This certainly would be a good time for the first one.
He's in some trouble here. 3-0 the count. Right in there. If you're CHOO, seeing what we have seen tonight, and you're going to guess on this pitch, what would you pick out?
Pretty tough. I mean, Felix Hernandez is certainly comfortable throwing all of his off-speed pitches. I don't think you can guess here. You just sit fastball because it's a 3-1 count.
Check swing, and they'll go to second and get the double play. What a weird double play that was, though. Seager had a chance to maybe do a little bit more than that, but Carlos Gomez. Well, there's so much confusion there because Profar stopped for a moment, and Seager, I don't know if he was thinking maybe that Profar would run into him.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't step on third. Maybe because he thought he was a little far off, but the general rule in those situations is you go where the ball takes you. So if the ball takes him to his left, he would go ahead and throw to second. But because it took him to his right, there is that anticipation that he would step on third and throw to first. And maybe Robinson Cano was anticipating the same thing because he was a little bit late in getting to second base. But nevertheless, it still worked out well for the Mariners as they get a double play.
So just like that, it's going to be up to Nomar Mazara. Profar 90 feet away, and it is the first time today that the Rangers have gotten a runner to third. A lonely night down there for Tony Beasley. And finally, somebody to work with. Profar takes his walking lead. On Mazara's first 2 trips, he has grounded out both times, but he has hit it the opposite way both times. He has grounded out to third and also rolled out to short. Up and in. Four for 14 on this trip. A home run, a couple of RBIs. Modest 3-game hitting streak on the line for Mazara. Bottom of the 6th inning in a 1-0 game. And he shoots it up the middle. That is a base hit. Profar scores, and we've got a new ball game. Mazara ties it up with his 12th RBI of the year.
Great approach, great at bat here for Nomar Mazara with the runner in scoring position. It's been a struggle so far here for the Rangers. So again, not trying to do too much. Gets an off-speed pitch down over the middle of the plate. If he tries to pull that ball, that is a ground ball to the right side and most likely an out. Instead, he hits a clean up the middle for a single. He gets the Rangers on the board.
So a 1-1 game, and now that play by Seager becomes a much bigger deal.
It's interesting too, because I was thinking when CHOO was hitting after they botched the bunt, would CHOO potentially sacrifice bunt? There's a lot of back and forth on whether or not that's the right play, and CHOO's done it only 6 times in his career and hasn't had a sacrifice bunt since 2015. So Jeff Bannister has had him do it before, but they decided against it, and then he worked himself into a nice 3-1 count. It seemed like it worked in their favor, but then he hits into a double play. So there's always that in between on which way you want to go. Do you sacrifice bunt with a couple of runners on and nobody out, especially when you have a starter who seems pretty locked in?
Well, he's been in control most of the night, but Hernandez, for the first time, proved to be human, and the count 1-1 now on Napoli. I think what the run expectation, right? You have first and second, nobody out, and you bunt them up, you've got a 57% chance of getting a run out of it. Whereas if you do not bunt them and just let your guys hit, you have about a 63% chance of scoring a run. So the math has always said just let them hit. Napoli pops his foul back over us.
Sure.
But now
all
that's
pitchers,
just,
yeah, all pitchers are not created equal.
Exactly.
All situations, and I'm not across the board one way or another. Earlier in the game, I don't like to see sacrifice bunts personally, but when I start to see a starter who seems pretty comfortable, especially a veteran like Hernandez, I like the idea of putting a little pressure on him. Up to that point, the Rangers had not had a runner at third base. You mentioned it. And so you can put 2 guys in scoring position and hand it over to Nomar Mazara and Mike Napoli and give each of those guys a shot to try to drive 2 runs in.
strike 3 called. Napoli down looking. But it's a new game.
And Nomar Mazara, who has done it the entire season so far for here for the Rangers, does it again and gets the Rangers even.
Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Texas Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Hey, roof open.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that a little bit.
Really?
Well,
you thought you would close it, what, to make it warmer?
I'm thinking strictly of myself right now.
Well,
yes.
yeah.
From one buddy that always got to roll the window down, you know, when you're driving, it's cold. You know that jerk. Everybody's got one of those.
Yeah, Nelson Cruz leading off in this sixth inning, 1-1 the count. I'm surprised they didn't come up here and check earlier this afternoon.
I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Perez with a breaking ball. Count 1-2. All right, our AT&T high-speed replay. We'll go back to the fourth inning with Nelson Cruz and a full count.
He was in a good spot, good fastball hitter, especially coming from the left-hander. Martin Perez blew a fastball by Robinson Cano in the same exact count. The at-bat before that, but he was unable to get it past Nelson Cruz.
Cruz's first home run of the year, also his 800th career RBI.
That was a good-looking pitch and a very interesting one for me. It was a changeup that Jonathan Lucroy wanted in to the right-hander Cruz. You don't see that too often, left-handed pitcher to right-handed hitter.
That looked pretty good too, and it's a full count.
Now let's see what Martin Perez learned here. When a guy takes you deep on a fastball on a 3-2 count, if you're going to throw it, you got to get it exactly where you want it, or you go to something else.
Bounces this one. So Cruz takes the walk to start the sixth inning. And we take a Chevy game break. Back to John Radigan.
It's just really tinny, right?
Okay, yeah, thanks, John. Yeah, indeed, you can see some weakness there. 3 consecutive losses, certainly a part of that. Is a man on in this sixth inning for the Mariners, and all of a sudden, you get that leadoff walk. And you do start to wonder, game this tight, the bullpens are going to be a factor. We're getting toward 100 pitches for Martin Perez. And the bullpen story begins to emerge.
Jeff Bannister right now is hoping for a little of that Martin magic, right, where he can get the ground ball, get you 2 outs on 1 pitch. Certainly Kyle Seager, a good hitter. You saw him pull that one, hit it hard. Martin is ahead, way ahead now, 0-2. So take a shot at your strikeout or set up something else, right? You got the option of throwing that fastball up and in, maybe get Kyle Seager off the plate, come back with a breaking ball. Different kinds of ways he can go about it right here. But what becomes important as he gets tired, as he gets ready to throw his 98th pitch, that he is focused and hitting his spots.
0-2 pitch, and this one out to left field. Coming on again is Profar, but it drops this time. So a walk and a single in the 6th inning.
They didn't hit it very hard, and I just mentioned it was an 0-2 count, but Martin Perez was trying to sweep this breaking ball away. You see Jonathan Lucroy have to come back over the plate. The ball sat in the middle, and Kyle Seager, like I said, didn't hit it hard, but got enough of it to get into left field.
Here comes Jeff Bannister. Jose Leclerc had been loosening up, and it looks like he is coming on. A 1-1 game in the 6th. Well, we've got a great one going tonight. 1-1. Bottom of the 6th inning. Hey, Sunday, April 23rd, Bluebell Ice Cream Sunday. Ice cream just $1 for youngsters 13 and under. Come see the Rangers take on the Kansas City Royals. Tickets for that April 23rd game available at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. All right, Jose Leclerc now. He is coming in some high leverage spots. This is a pretty good one right here for the young man.
Without a doubt, back against the wall, first and second, nobody out. He has been fantastic so far in the Ranger bullpen, and he has been very important because there's been a lot going on, some struggles, some injuries, a lot of issues right now in the bullpen, but Jose Leclerc has really answered the bell, a guy that not many people were anticipating even making this team, but things worked out in his favor, and he has quickly rose to a spot where he has earned Jeff Bannister's trust, and he's asked to come on in a big spot here.
He'll look back at second, that little inside move, but not much of a lead out there for Nelson Cruz, nor is Nelson Cruz really a threat to be doing a whole lot out there anyway.
Elvis staying warm.
Yep. Hey, he's ready. Ooh, look.
This is interesting. Now, you mentioned it. Nelson Cruz, without a doubt, is not trying to steal third base, and the reason to do it, and keep them close, secondary leads, all those things are important. But what's probably happening here is that they want to see whether or not the Seattle Mariners are bunting. So with the inside move, you can pick up your leg just like you're pitching. You try to sell it as much as possible to see ultimately if MOTTER starts to square.
And he did. He gave us a little glimpse. But he's not bunting this time and fouls it straight back out of play. Doesn't mean he won't try it right here.
Well, and the other part of that, gamemanship on both sides of this, is that if he knows that Jose Leclerc is going to second, and it's an obvious inside move, and he doesn't sell it very well. And MOTTER actually might fake the bunt a little bit to make the Rangers think that that was the play.
Oh, 2. MOTTER singled his last time up. Also bounced doing a big double play earlier. That's one thing that the Rangers have been able to get tonight. Made a big difference in this game. The 0-2 outside. 1-2 to count.
Going back to what you were talking about and the percentages and the numbers on the sacrifice bunt. So here the Mariners find themselves in that same situation. You got a young player in MOTTER, and Jose Leclerc is a young pitcher as well, but you got a couple rookies going after each other. You got a great strikeout pitcher in Jose Leclerc, and so that's another reason why you start to look at the factors and say what makes the most sense. Would have this been the right time to try to sacrifice?
Fouled away. So because he's a strikeout pitcher, if you're Scott Service with MOTTER up there, does that make you more or less inclined to want to bunt?
More inclined, without a doubt. If I feel like there's a chance that there's going to be a strikeout, and he's not a big swing and miss guy necessarily. MOTTER isn't, but the idea that you have a good strikeout pitcher in Leclerc, who's been really good so far, I consider it at least a little bit more. Let's put it that way.
The 1-2 pitch got him swinging. So there's the strikeout, and Leclerc, his first of the night tonight, but boy, he continues to come up in some big spots.
This is a really great location, right? This ball starts on the corner, maybe finishes a strike or just off. Good movement, good bite, and frustrating at bat for MOTTER.
LUCROY out in front of the plate, signals to the infield how to set things up defensively here as Danny Valencia steps in. So now I was going to say with a strikeout pitcher that I'd be more apt to let my guy swing, because if I'm facing a ground ball guy, one thing I want to avoid is a double play. And with a ground ball pitcher, I might be more inclined to bunt. The 1-1. Pardon me.
But I would tell you this, a ground ball and a ground ball pitcher a little bit easier maybe to bunt on as well. Repertoire matters as well. I mean, all these things matter, and that's why when we sit here and we talk analytics and we say, well, it's 63% versus 57%. It's not that simple. If it was that simple, then we wouldn't even need managers, and we would just put the situation into a computer and spit out what should be going on. But there's a lot of things that matter. First of all, can the guy even bunt? Has he bunted? Is he good at it? What's the pitcher doing? What kind of defense are they running? Do they have guys that are close? You think about, go back to the days of Jeff Bagwell, right? What a great defender he was. He was so hard to bunt on because he was right down your throat. And so that changed things a little bit. So it's never black and white. Maybe at times with a situation like bunting and first and second and nobody out, it is not black and white. So many other factors come into play.
Leclerc working from that high stretch. He continues to look at CRUZ, but runs one in. 2 balls, no strikes on Valencia. Valencia today 0 for 1, walked in the 4th inning. Saw Leclerc get his first career save Wednesday night in Anaheim. What an electric moment it was. Inning in 2/3 to finish off that win over the Angels. 2-0. And then there's a strike.
See a little frustration there from Danny Valencia. That pitch came in at 96 miles an hour, but that ball jumped on him a little bit because he's a good fastball hitter. And he's sitting fastball 2-0 count, runner in scoring position, the potential tying run. He has hit 329 on fastball since the beginning of last year. That's what he's hunting. That's what he was looking for, and that one jumped on him pretty quick.
Two and 2 on Danny Valencia.
What a great combination right there. Now the only thing with Jose Leclerc, as you see this pitch finish down below the zone after he let the fastball go by, right? It's kind of a backwards at bat for Danny Valencia right now. Just be a little bit careful with the cut changeup that Leclerc throws. Keep it out of the zone because it acts like a cutter. And Danny Valencia has been very good on cutters.
Infield at double play depth with Valencia up there. The 2-2 pitch, and he fouls it back. And he went up after what would have been ball 3. Leclerc gets really good separation off his fastball and his off-speed stuff, better than 10 miles per hour. Great movement with the off-speed stuff. And he has come in this year throwing strikes. He's 23 years old. And it's a full count now on Valencia.
And he tried to repeat what he did in the swing and miss that he got on the 2-1 count. That one was a little bit too far down in the dirt, and it was a really good idea because of the higher fastball that he threw right before that. And we'll see if Jose Leclerc has the confidence in throwing off speed pitch here for a strike in the bottom of the zone. We've seen him do it a bunch. Let's see which way Jonathan Lucroy wants to go.
Cruz walked to open the inning. Is at second after the SEAGER single. The 3-2 pitch. Got him swinging. The changeup again. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jose Leclerc.
I'm not sure if Jose Leclerc can be much more impressive than he has been. Not only this pitch, and listen, it finished the ball, but it has enough bite on it to get Danny Valencia and convince him to go out of the zone. But he shook to that pitch. That is not the pitch that Jonathan Lucroy wanted. And when you're a rookie pitcher, Jonathan Lucroy is your catcher who is so outstanding behind the plate. You decide you know what you want to do when you shake off his sign and go to something else. It shows some courage.
To Leclerc, a couple of strikeouts now after ZUNINO. ZUNINO twice tonight has punched out. Both those, though, were against Martin Perez, who went 5+. He's responsible for the 2 base runners. It's 2-0. And for all the talk about the power the Rangers have exploited in the first 9 games of the year, averaging 6 runs a game, etc. Well, really, maybe one of the most valuable players on this Rangers team to this point might be wearing number 62. Might be Jose Leclerc.
I think it's fair to say there have been times where the offense has really come up big and won games for this team. But imagine Jose Leclerc not in this bullpen right now with the other issues that have been going on. He has been the one constant and consistent. Some guys have done some pretty good jobs in some big spots, but this guy, without a doubt, has been the most consistent. And I think the guy, if you were to ask Jeff Bannister, who do you have the most confidence in right now in your bullpen in a big spot, he may answer Jose Leclerc.
Giving a real psychological lift to that bullpen. The 2-0 pitch, and there's a swing and a miss.
And I think what makes the answer to that question even all the more fascinating, it's April 14th, and we weren't even sure if he was going to be on the team. And within that amount of time, he has become, if not Jeff Bannister's first choice, easily top 2 or 3.
Opportunity presented itself, and he has jumped all over it. The 2-1. A called strike squares the count now on ZUNINO.
97 miles an hour. And even though he didn't mean to go that far in, Jose Leclerc is in a really good spot. He can go back in with that fastball. He can throw that cut changeup, or he can throw the slider. If he executes, he's going to get a positive result.
Trying to get his starter, Martin Perez, out of a real tough spot in this 6th inning. He's come in and struck out Motter. He struck out Valencia. The 2-2. And he strikes out ZUNINO. Wow. How about it, Jose Leclerc? We go to the 7th inning. Rougned Odor, one of the other youngsters, trying to get things started offensively.
Jose Leclerc. He is our Jimmy John's delivery of the game, inheriting runners at first and second and nobody out. And that's no problem. 3 strikeouts in a row for Jose Leclerc. Continues to get it done in big spots. And you see the reaction. I don't think he's done. High emotion night and a high emotion inning, and an excellent job. But I gotta believe Jeff Bannister's going to ask him to go back out there and do it again.
Boy, has he been impressive. So now 7th inning. Yeah, here's the conversation. One more.
So if I leave Jose in for the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, you think that'll be okay? They're figuring out, they're looking at matchups, and that's the conversation right now that Doug Rocaille and Jeff Bannister are having.
Well, the next question or task for the Rangers is to find a way to get Felix Hernandez out of the game, because he has been awfully good tonight. Rougned Odor leading it off. Hernandez with a pitch count very low, considering now pitching in the 7th, and a breaking ball fouled off. It's 0-2 on Odor. Now, when you come in to face this Seattle team, the one thing you absolutely want to do is get into that bullpen. Specifically, the middle relief has been an abject disaster here.
Not going well so far for the Mariners. A 7.71 ERA. It is early to look at ERA even for bullpens in the totality of innings, but it has been a slow start for sure.
Fly ball left field, 1 out. Odor retired for Andrus. All right, our Ford game summary. There it is. Nelson Cruz, first home run of the season for him. That came in the 4th inning. Was also his 800th career RBI. But then the Rangers getting a 2-out RBI single from Nomar Mazara in the bottom of the 6th inning to tie it. Or pardon me, top of the 6th inning to tie it. Elvis Andrus 0 for 2 so far tonight.
So we've seen the first and second nobody out situation twice, right? 1 run has come across, 1 time it is not. So for this game, if you your numbers, we're an even 50%.
Well, right around there anyway. This one sent into left center field, base hit for Elvis Andrus. Rangers have a big runner on base in the 7th.
The bat paid a price there for Elvis Andrus. It didn't break. Like a little piece went flying off the barrel. Take a look at this right here. And there it goes. Just a splinter.
All right, Andrus now has to be a real threat to run.
And you see him there, and as a pitcher, and this may have had something to do with the fact that Martin Perez was going in on all those righties. You use the weather to your advantage. Now, obviously, we've seen baseball players playing games much colder than this, but when it is cold, the idea of driving that fastball in on the hands, it's a smart idea, because guys know if they don't get it, it's going to hurt a little bit.
Even with those batting gloves on?
It's pretty
or
nice.
base running gloves, as they may be.
thicker.
Looks like Spider-Man. Elvis with 1 steal in 2 attempts so far. And Jonathan Lucroy, you see it, what kind of night it has been so far for him. He's got a lot of company. As Felix Hernandez has been on his game. Andrus with his lead not going, and the pitch a little bit in.
We'll see. Elvis will be careful here. You certainly love the idea of him getting in scoring position with nobody out, but base runners have been at a premium so far in this game, and so he has to feel really good about what he sees from Felix Hernandez, and the confidence has to be pretty high that he can swipe this bag.
And he'll continue to get the attention of Felix Hernandez.
The lead has been pretty short here so far for Elvis Andrus, but good base runners will tell you that a lot of times The bigger lead comes when they're not stealing. Sometimes they'll go a little bit shorter when they actually are taking you back. It's all about which way you're leaning, which way your momentum is going as that pitcher lifts that front leg.
Taking a little bit extra, but not going, and it's a little in on LUCROY. So 2-0.
You can't help but wonder if Elvis has kind of bought this 2-0 count here for Jonathan LUCROY, because Felix Hernandez has given him a lot of attention. So the pitch count starting to get up a little bit at 81. And Felix, whose command has been excellent all night, all of a sudden having just a little bit of trouble.
Another good lead, and the pitch is a called strike. Just did nibble off the outside corner. 2-1 on LUCROY. Well, nobody has stolen more bases in a Rangers uniform than Elvis Andrus. Now at 242. Even last year when he got off to a bad start on the bases, at least for him, and then had to deal with that sports hernia that slowed him down the rest of the year, and said the hernia, that was the only thing that really affected was his running game. He still ended up swiping 24 last year in 32 attempts. Even though he advances in age, still with that excellent speed. Getting him to second base in this spot would be very big. 2-1 the count on LUCROY. Joey Gallo waiting on deck. Hernandez continues to check. There goes Andrus. This one fouled back. And leaving the count at 2-2. Elvis will have to return. Well, now with 2 strikes on LUCROY, gets him up again. And Hernandez with just 3 strikeouts so far tonight. Normally a very big part of his game. Andrus with his lead again. Going, the 2-2. And a high fly ball, right field. Andrus gonna have to get back. And there are 2 gone. All right, Rangers fans, we invite you to download the Fox Sports Go app and take Rangers baseball with you wherever you go. If you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile devices with the Fox Sports Go app, presented by Hyundai. And now with 2 out, it's going to be up to Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo has had some pretty good at-bats tonight. Seen the ball well.
He had the double in the 3rd inning. Hits this ball down to first base. And a quick verdict for Felix Hernandez. Inning over, Rangers leave another man. They'll stand and stretch tonight in Seattle. Great one going here tonight.
7th inning here at Safeco Field, and a new addition at Safeco Field was unveiled just yesterday outside of home plate. A brand spanking new statue of Ken Griffey Jr., the Hall of Famer, being honored with his own statue outside of Safeco Field. That is our big story of the night. It is a big statue. He was on hand today to catch the first pitch of the game. A beautiful statue in honor of one of the game's greatest guys.
Yeah, pretty cool. It gave away how many of those statuettes did they give out today?
40,000, I heard.
Wow. I almost think one of them would make it up here.
I would like to think at least 2 of them would make it up here.
Now here we go. Bottom of the 7th inning of JARROD DYSON leading things off. Jose Leclerc back out in this 7th inning. Boy, he was electrifying in the 6th. 2-1. A 1-1 game tonight. Some pretty nifty pitching on both sides.
Sometimes you do wonder a little bit for Jose Leclerc and for any reliever. You come in a big situation, emotions run high, adrenaline runs high. You finish it off, you come back. I mean, listen, it's still important. It's a tie game in the 7th inning, but that adrenaline level comes down a little bit. You got to crank it back up. See if he can stay as consistent as he was last inning.
Hard bouncer, and that one sneaks through into right field. You know, Odor did everything he could to knock it down, but DYSON is on with a leadoff hit.
They fell behind the count here, threw a ball down the middle, and JARROD DYSON hit it pretty hard. As you see, Odor try to go to his left. Can't quite come up with it. And now Jose Leclerc will get a pretty good test here with JARROD DYSON on first. We talked about the speed. This will be a little cat and mouse and a little back and forth. So see Alvarez now in the bullpen.
He was working a little earlier.
And a really tall can of Coors Light right behind him. Notice that.
Check in on DYSON. I did notice that. I also noticed when Emily was addressing us a moment ago that there were a couple right behind her. Already a showing bunt. The throw over on DYSON.
That was a really early turn there for Heredia. Showing bunt. He squared really early, and so Joey Gallo has to be a little bit careful. Keep an eye on the slash. How do you pull that back?
Already a hitless so far this year. Ooh, way up on him. And that's ball 1. Now that is, when you see a guy square, is that where, I don't know, you're told to go? Is up and in like that?
High fastballs are the most difficult pitches to bunt. So up and in is a really good spot. Now if it's a squeeze, you're completely trying to throw the ball out of the strike zone so that he can't get to it, and high is the best spot. More often than not, the high fastball will get bunted up in the air. It's really hard to get on top of that.
Runner going, pitches in, throw down to second, a good one, the tag, did not get him. Whoa, DYSON in there, and yeah, no question, Jeff Bannister out to hold his hand up. And wait a minute.
This was really close. JARROD DYSON got a pretty good jump, but it was a really good throw from Jonathan Lucroy. And I don't think there's going to be enough there to get this thing overturned. We talk about this a lot. The call on the field. Let's see here if that tag can get there. Looks like they got there right around the same time. Now, Elvis Andrus was in front of the bag a little bit. I don't know if it would have made a difference if he was on the bag, holding the bag, but Jeff Bannister's going to ask them to look at this anyway.
Yeah, now they'll take a look at it, and this is, and we haven't seen a replay now for a handful of days. And part of this is just simply the leverage of this situation. Vandy feeling like, well, it's close, and it's awfully important at this point in a 1-1 game, bottom of the 7th.
And we'll see this look again. I mean, the thing you're looking for is whether or not Elvis could get that tag down. And like I said, listen, it is minuscule. I don't think it would have made a difference, but generally, who am I to tell Elvis Andrus how to take a throw at second base? But you're always going to be faster. The tag's going to get down faster. The ball's faster than the tag, and so you'd like to catch that ball if possible right on the bag. and just go straight down with your tag. It was slightly in front of it. I don't think it would have made a difference. That was an extremely close play.
And here we go. Yeah. Safe. So the stolen base for DYSON. I'll tell you what, the naked eye, that was a really good peg by LUCROY, and you thought he was dead to rights.
Great throw, and again, we've talked about it. JARROD DYSON is a great runner, and it does not mean that the bunt is completely off here either. They can certainly do it again and try to get him over to third base.
Heredia squaring, and he's trying to bunt. Pops it foul and out of play or out of reach. So 2-1 the count. So we haven't seen a replay in a couple of days prior to that one. Now, we did get a report from Major League Baseball through April 13th. That's yesterday. 101 reviews, and the average time taken, 1:39 seconds.
It's a pretty good time, right in line with where we were a year ago. Of the 1,502 replays we had last year, 1 minute and 38 seconds. You see the overturn numbers. See Manny Acta talking to Heredia about that bunt. And the way you're taught the fundamentals of bunting, you square, especially early like this in a sacrifice situation, and you start your bat at the top of the strike zone. If there's any ball that is above your bat, you're supposed to pull it back because it's a ball. Plus, it's really difficult to bunt that pitch. And so going back to what you were asking about the high fastball, that's why you throw it in that situation. You square, start the bat at the top, never go up, only go down.
Corners come way in.
And that's the right play right there. Jose Leclerc has got to keep an eye on JARROD DYSON, because in this situation, man on second, nobody out, the proper bunt is a hard bunt to third base that makes Joey Gallo field it. If Heredia does that, Dyson's going to be able to walk to third base.
The bunt, and it drops in, and everybody is safe. Leclerc thinking about making the Superman play there instead of just taking me out.
And that's a situation of probably trying to do a little bit too much in that situation. Jose thought maybe he had a chance to catch this ball, and once he realized he didn't, it was too late. You see his legs kind of starting to go down there a little bit. But after that, it's probably Joey Gallo's ball, because once he's laying out like that, listen, it's a reaction. It's very difficult to be able to pull back at that point. It's all instinct. But if you can't catch that ball, Joey Gallo's got to feel it. It's a much easier throw for him as he's coming in.
Tie game men on the corners now, and the 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up. So Leclerc was incredible in the 6th inning, coming in with 2 men on, nobody out. Struck out MOTTER, Valencia, and ZUNINO. Now in a spot where he might have to turn a very similar trick right here, starting with Mitch Haniger. Haniger is a good strikeout candidate. He struck out 14 times already this year. And fouls this one straight back out of play. Coming in, he was 4th in the American League in strikeouts. So, a guy who can be had.
Well, this is the time to do it. You know, you talk about double plays, you have runners at first and third, but with nobody out in this situation, and you got some tough hitters behind Mitch Haniger, strikeout or a pop-up, something that doesn't advance the runner at third is the ideal out.
Check swing, but he didn't go. 1-1. Kind of a delayed ask on the appeal. Fielding Colbreth down there at first base, confirming he did not go around. We mentioned at the outset tonight, Haniger has been the hot hand. And he had the first hit off Martin Perez tonight. But since then, a fly out to center field. He struck out looking in the 5th. Leclerc working on him here. 1-1 the count. Make that strike 2. Pitch is starting to pile up just a little bit now too for Leclerc.
We've gone this far with him. For me, it's almost an automatic day off tomorrow, so you can go ahead and push him maybe 35 on the high end, knowing that he'd be down tomorrow.
Ball well hit and gone. That's a 3-run homer for Haniger. Mariners with the 3-run lead. There was some confusion out there on the bases initially, but when I picked up C.B. Buckner early and he had the call and it was gone.
Now Jeff Bannister will come out and ask them to take a look at this, as we'll see this ball hit the yellow line. Let's see if it went over the wall and if anybody touched it. They did not. So that ball hit nothing behind the wall, and that's what they're going to talk about here, and ultimately they'll take a look at it. I've never been a fan of the yellow line. These guys are going to take a peek. Some ballparks have different ground rules on that, and they'll say, well, the yellow line's a home run. That one probably should not be. I'm double check see what the rules are here, but that one probably should not be. But because C.B. Buckner also called it, it's going to be a judgment call from the umpires as far as where to put the runners, which most likely would be second and third.
Complicates things a little bit.
It does. I mean, listen, it should be pretty clear in the sense that the ball has to clear the wall to be a home run. The ball hit the yellow line.
So this is not a Rangers review, of course. They used their review and it was overturned. So this one is one under official review. Jeff Bannister asked them to consider using their judgment to go ahead and send this back to New York.
I mean, it's clear as day. The ball hit the yellow line. It did not clear the wall. It did not touch anybody, any fan, any fence, any railing, anything on the other side of the wall. And this was an issue years back, and I thought that they cleared this up.
And I'm not finding it in the ground rules in their media guide.
This should be a double of runners on second and third. And Jeff Bannister believes it's the same thing. But there were some stadiums where the yellow line counted as a home run, but I'm pretty sure they got rid of that because it's kind of a silly rule, right? You have a wall, you got to hit the ball over the wall. But it makes you wonder. I start thinking about how many ballparks still have those yellow lines.
Well, a lot.
Yeah, they didn't have an Anaheim though. We were just there, right? Keep thinking about that Mike Trout catch. I don't remember the line being there, and they're going to call it a double.
Yeah, good. There you go. So they will replace the runners. Yeah, here comes Scott Service. He's not going to ask him to review this one. He's going to tell him a few things. Most notably, how he feels about it. Of course, get clarification on how they place the runners, right? Because that's the next question. Like you pointed out, it's now a judgment call. And they have to figure out, okay, if that's a double, what does that mean for the man at first?
Well, it is a judgment call, and they have access to the high home camera, and so they sit there and they go through it and they figure it out, and it should be runners at second and third. And now we'll see Jeff Bannister coming out to make a pitching change.
So it is a double for Haniger. Only one run is in on the play. It's a 2-1 game. Men on the corners for the Mariners. And Jose Leclerc is done as Jeff Bannister heads out into that bullpen. in Seattle. Let's take a look again just a moment ago.
Now, first of all, the pitch right there, we saw Jose Leclerc actually get under that one. It floated in the middle of the zone. We haven't seen many of those from him at all this year. The ball was well hit, and at first glance, it looked like it might have went over the wall and hit that back railing. That's how C.B. Buckner called it, but you look at it again, and you'll see that it hits the top part of the wall right on that yellow line. It never went beyond the wall, and so it was ruled a double, as the umpires will move the runners where they most see fit. I'll take that back. They got runners at first and second right now. And that's probably what Scott Service was arguing. Now, I think he has a legitimate beef there. That's incredible.
That really surprises me. As we went to break, I said been on the corners, which was way off. I thought, oh, it's second and third, obviously,
double.
but it's first and second.
Wow.
All right, so a lot going on there. The double play is in order with Robinson Cano coming up. And the first pitch from Dario Alvarez in there for strike one. But that is a really bizarre turn of events. An RBI single for Mitch Haniger. It's a 2-1 Mariners lead.
The idea of that being a single wasn't even on my radar. I wasn't even considering it. Wasn't worried about where they were going to put him. It seemed like it would be a no-brainer. So the Rangers catch a break. We'll see what Alvarez can do with it, and we'll try to get that double play.
Popped up. Should be an infield fly. No indication. There it is. Andrus catches it anyway, and there's one away. Let's send it to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. All right, thanks, John. All right, Dario Alvarez comes in, gets his one man. And so Jeff Bannister goes to that bullpen again in a one-run game. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keep calm to learn more. Right, in Seattle, there's that yellow line that has been at the center of so much controversy here. I want to thank Ben Taylor, who was watching the game and very quickly sent a link he found online, which was not just the Safeco field ground rules, but also included the universal ground rules established by the commissioner's office. And the very last one on the list is very simply all yellow lines are in play, which means it's not a double, it's not anything, it's just in play. But because Buckner signaled home run and threw everyone off, they went back, recreated the scene as best they could, and that's how they came up with first and second.
I bet you that became a universal rule not that long ago. So I do remember it being controversial a handful of times, and that's the right way to do it. It makes perfect sense. Run a home run, you got to hit the ball over the wall.
It really is, and yet it's still very surprising to be first and second. Jeremy Jeffress on here in the 7th inning. Third pitcher this inning for the Rangers.
Jeffress, pretty good matchup here. First and second, 1 out. We know about the great sinker. He threw the ball extremely well in his last game, an inning and a third with 3 ground ball outs and a strikeout. Jeff Bannister hoping for something similar again tonight.
Two and 0 the count on CRUZ. And of course, because those runners were stationed at first and second, just like back in the first inning, if CRUZ were able to just keep one on the infield here, a chance the Rangers could get a couple, get out of the inning, and keep it miraculously a 1-run game. This one popped foul back behind the plate. 2-1.
This is, like I mentioned, a good matchup. When Jeffress is going strong, we talk about this a lot with the Ranger pitchers, where they stand on the rubber. He's all the way on that first base side, facing a right-handed hitter, even behind in the count. If he can start that two-seam fastball right down the middle of the plate, it should finish in. It comes barreling in on a right-handed hitter, and when he hits his spots, he is very difficult to square up. That was it right there. That is nasty. Especially when you have a hitter that is in swing mode, 2-1, looking for a fastball in an RBI situation. Look where that ball finished. Nelson Cruz saw that down the middle out of Jeremy Jeffress' hands, and it finished inside off the plate and down.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Cruz shoots this one down the right field line, but foul.
A little exhale there for Jeremy Jeffress and for Jonathan Lucroy. That one stayed up in the zone a little bit more, and that's when sinker ball pitchers will get themselves in a little bit of trouble. They make their money down in the zone.
No, a wild inning so far. The 2 runners out there, they're the responsibility of Jose Leclerc. Dario Alvarez got a pop-up. Now Jeffress trying to keep it a 1-run game. The 2-2 pitch. Bouncer up the middle. Andrews to Odor, 1 to first, 2. Another big double play. This one helps Jeremy Jeffress, and it keeps it a 1-run game. For the 3rd time tonight, the Rangers able to find 2 in 1 bouncing ball.
Execution of the two-seam fastball, and a beautiful and easy turn here for the Rangers middle infield. It's too cold, man.
Cold. This thing scare me. 2-1 ball game.
Too fast.
It's time now for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile. How about some of these news and notes? Really neat opening today in Atlanta, SunTrust Park. Boy, I saw a lot of little pieces of video and photos, some pretty cool stuff going on at their brand new ballpark.
We'll be there in September.
Yeah, I can't wait for the barbecue at your place.
You're not invited.
17 long balls in the last 6 games for the Mets. They've just gone absolutely nuts, and it's an all-Garcia outfield.
That's
in
fun.
Chicago.
I'd probably take a lot of research thinking about how many times that has happened, right? Same name, last name outfields.
Baloo, that's the only one that
really
jumps to me.
There's no Johnsons in there? Jones? Andrew Jones and Chipper Jones played the outfield at the same time. Was there a third one? Probably not. I was there.
Probably not. It's going to take a little while there. Check swing, Blue, back of second base, and that one caught by MOTTER. So just like that, Profar erased.
We saw a couple of check swings earlier. And like I said, it just speaks to how well Felix Hernandez is throwing. And you throw that ball just in case the umpires don't see them if they miss the call, but sometimes it can cause a little bit of confusion.
Now 1 out here. Felix Hernandez still under 90 pitches working in this 8th inning. And it is just now beginning his 4th time through.
The pitch count is tremendous for Felix, but I think we're getting a look at what you're going to see and what he's hoping to be able to do this year as Carlos Gomez hits that ball up the middle, but it's lower pitch counts, probably less strikeouts. His strikeout rate has come down in each of the last 2 seasons, and even in his prime, 9.5 in his good years, which is a good number, but we see some pretty big ones nowadays, but he went down to 8+, and it was just 7.5 last year.
We talk about how well he's going tonight, and at such a low pitch count, Scott Service goes to his bullpen. Ooh, a sliver of opportunity here for the Rangers. CJ shocked that he is out already.
I'm with you.
I don't know. Obviously, it seems Service wants to play some matchups here in the 8th and 9th inning, but why?
It's a good question. And he's handled the middle of the lineup very well. Just a 1-base hit from Nomar Mazar. Shin-Soo 0 for 3 tonight with a strikeout. Mike Napoli 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch. I will say this: 100 pitches last time for Felix Hernandez, only 89 tonight.
Well, the first 15,000 fans to the ballpark Sunday, April 30th, will get a Rangers duffel bag, courtesy of Powerade. Rangers and Angels, a 2:05 game. Go to TexasRangers.com or 972 Rangers to get your tickets.
It's a good promo item for you. You can
love it.
Not bring that to the gym. Never see you there. I was sitting on that for a while.
Really?
So, hey, what I was going to say, here's what's kind of interesting about that. Yes, 89 pitches. Felix Hernandez throwing the ball well. Did a nice job against the middle of the lineup with the Rangers, but he also had a full 5 days off, so he had the extra day's rest as well from this last start. But he seemed very agreeable and understood that Scott Service made that decision. But I'm with you. That's a big surprise as we see Mark Zepchinski in there now to face the lefty CHOO.
So they are into that pin. Zepchinski, lefty on lefty here against CHOO. And runs it low. We got CHOO from the left side, Mazzara, and then another lefty, Mike Napoli, who would be due this inning.
And Mike Napoli's
Pardon
still
me.
ready.
Pardon me, yeah. Odor, I guess I was thinking two batters later. 1-0. That's 1-1.
And that's why he's in there, because it's the back-to-back lefties, and Scott Service had already decided that that's the route they're going to go. I would be very surprised if anybody else was to get on that Zepchinski would be in there to face Mike Napoli. But it is about using your lefty specialist to get a couple of really good lefties out.
1-1. And he misses with ball 2. Now this is one of the problems that the Mariners have had is just simply getting to the end of their bullpen. I mean, that has been the big challenge. They come in 2 and 8. The hope here is that with these matchups, Zepchinski can maybe get them to that spot and build up some confidence for their pen. A bouncing ball first base. Valencia to the bag for 1, and that is all he will get. GÓMEZ now out there at second base, though, in scoring position in a 1-run game.
And Zepchinski has done a very nice job against lefties over the course of his career. 381 games where he has faced a left-handed hitter. 221 batting average against. Those are good numbers. Nearly a 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. He's been a very reliable left-handed specialist, and that's why he's in there right now. We've seen Nomar. This is a fun matchup because we've seen Nomar have some great at-bats this entire season, hanging in there much better against lefties, I think, than what we saw a year ago. There'll be a shift on him here, but I got to believe he's looking for something out over the middle of the plate, trying to hit something, if he can, if it's there, to the left side.
2 for 7 against left-handed pitching so far. He takes the ball. 2 for 7 with a walk, in fact. So he's handled it a lot better this year than he did last year. It's very early, obviously, and those numbers not exactly statistically relevant, but an indication, though, where he is at the moment. A snapshot. 1-1.
See that so far this year. Like you said, small sample size, but good swings, good at bats. Excuse me. That's what we've seen this year from Nomar. Much more comfortable against lefties, I think, than a year ago.
Yeah, the on-base number against lefties is 444. And it's outside, 2-1 to count. And that would be the big lift. Get him on. And then get Napoli a chance. A 2-1 game, 8th inning. Big news is that Felix Hernandez is out of the game. Two-1. Bouncer, but right there for it, MOTTER. And that ends the inning. Rangers leave a man in scoring position. To the bottom of the 8th inning we go in a 1-run game.
The M's 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the 8th, and that is the scene that you'll see more oftentimes than not in the Rangers dugout. That's the starting pitchers hanging out together. It's something that Doug Brocail has encouraged his guys to do, to talk about the game that's taking place, to try to learn from the mistakes and even learn from the good things that their teammates do, their fellow starters do, and it's worked so far this season. If you look the last 6 games, there's the numbers, just 6 earned runs and that 1.49 ERA. So really Doug Brocail encouraging them to hang out together, talk, so that communication and consistency turning out to be a winning combination for the Rangers starting rotation, Dave.
Yeah, that is one of the kind of the defining characteristics of those guys down there.
Heard an interesting story last year with the Cleveland Indians, and Emily's absolutely right. There's the conversations that happen there, the chemistry, talking to each other, the good, the bad things certainly you can learn from the guys that have had success in a long track record. But I heard a story last year, I talked to Josh Tomlin about this, from the Cleveland Indians, where the Cleveland Indians pitchers, starting pitchers, would go out and watch whoever was throwing their bullpen that day. The rest of the rotation would be out there watching. You have your starting pitcher, so if Corey Kluber was starting, he wouldn't be out there. But the other 3 starters would watch the guy throw his bullpen every single time. I thought that was pretty fascinating. It's a time commitment. That's a little different. I had never seen or heard that before. So they can understand what the guy's working on. They're all kind of on the same page with each other, and there's accountability there within your pitching staff. And even though like a lot of times we talk about the pitching staff as one group, there's some separation there. The starters and the relievers, right? The starters hanging out in the dugout. You get your brothers in your bullpen hanging out together as well. And some of the parts that you absolutely miss when you're done playing is that camaraderie with your teammates.
2-2, the count on Kyle Seager to start this bottom of the 8th inning.
But the upside is I get some camaraderie with Dave Raymond every night.
And I like to get out here early and watch you prep. I'm impressed.
You should be.
Crushed a couple of cookies today. Those are sizable cookies too.
You have to wrap me out, Dave.
After pretty much finishing all the ice cream in Anaheim. Time
partially true. It's a battle. It is a battle.
But you needed something to wash down those grasshoppers.
That's right. We got a taste of leftover grasshoppers that Sarah was nice enough to bring us today. We're not getting fresh ones. My goodness, we're going to get the leftovers.
Do you think you'd be able to tell a difference?
They're probably equally as crispy and crunchy. Probably forever. Those seem like the kind of things that could survive an atomic bomb.
They look, quite honestly, like grasshoppers I'd seen in my past as a youth in Nebraska. And they felt very similar. Dried up. Disgusting. But they went down easy. The 3-2. Fouled off, and this battle will continue. Kyle Seager tonight has been a very difficult out. He's been some messy spots today. Walked to lead off the 2nd, reached on an infield hit in the 4th, singled again in the 6th inning. Jeffress got a double play to end the 7th. Lifts it high in the air, left field. Profar. 1 away.
Fans, the Rangers and Dr. Pepper are teaming up to bring you savings at the ballpark this season. Bring a Dr. Pepper can to the box office or use the online coupon code Dr. Pepper to get tickets starting at just $13. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials to get your tickets for Monday, April 24th, when the Rangers play the Minnesota Twins.
All right, CJ. Can or ticket? What is that image on the left? Is that a can or a ticket?
It's a can ticket. I'm going to go can. But I could see where you'd be a little bit confused.
Wide. This looks like
maybe not in proportion.
All right, here's Motter. 1 for 3 tonight. I don't know if you saw this the other day. The Mariners just finished up a series with the Astros, and Jose Altuve got out to second base, and Motter came over from shortstop, and Altuve just reached up and started feeling his hair.
I did not see that.
Oh, you have beautiful blonde hair. I just want to touch it.
Things are a little different these days. And I get it too. He looks like he conditions at least twice a week.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, Jeffress took care of Seager. He's jumped ahead of Motter here, 0-2. Broken his bat there. Little roller left side. Nice play by Gallo, 2 away.
It's been in very encouraging back-to-back outings here for Jeremy Jeffress after a little bit of a slow start and certainly nothing to get panicked about, but he has looked really sharp and really locked in. And when you see that two-seam fastball, I mentioned it earlier, getting in on the hands of those right-handed hitters, and you hear that weak contact or even get the swings and misses. It's not a big part of his game, strikeouts, but he will be able to generate those swings and misses. He looks really good right now. And now it's Claudio now in the bullpen, just in case.
No any pitches yet.
Faking guys out.
Yep.
Working on, most likely, honestly, in that situation, making sure he feels good about his separation and where his throwing arm is when his foot gets down. A lot of times that timing is all the time very important in making sure that you got it right. So he's already thrown. It feels pretty loose, but just kind of doing a little what we call a dry drill there and making sure he feels right, checking in on his mechanics.
Valencia takes a strike. Danny Valencia 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Bottom of the 8th inning. In the 9th, Mike Napoli would be due to lead things off. Rougned Odor, Elvis Andrus. So the 3, 4, and 5 will be coming for the Rangers in a 1-run game at the moment. Fouled off. And it's 1-2 on Valencia.
There's Edwin Diaz down there, a big arm. Really burst on the scene a year ago. He's gotten off to a little bit of a slow start. He's already got one blown save under his belt, but he's got a fastball that can reach the triple digits.
Jeffress digging in, trying to make sure it stays a 1-run game, and it's 2-2 on Valencia. Martin Perez started tonight, pitched into the 6th inning, but did not record an out in that 6th inning. Gave up a run on 6 hits, walked 4, struck out 4. Jose Leclerc inherited the 2 base runners in the 6th inning and struck out the side in order. And then came out, got in a little trouble in the 7th inning. Alvarez and Jeffress clean that up for him. 2-2 pitch. Flare out toward the middle. And therefore it is Odor, and it's a 1-2-3 for Jeffress. So he looks good tonight. Last chance for the Rangers coming up against the hard-throwing right-hander next. ball game as we get ready for the top of the 9th inning. Now time for AARP's Getting to Know. Now Robinson Cano, 7-time All-Star. Tomorrow's Jackie Robinson Day. And in the story everyone knows by now, no doubt, Robinson Cano named for Jackie Robinson. Yeah, special day tomorrow. All right, 9th inning now. Heart of the order coming for the Rangers.
Edwin Diaz, I mentioned, that fastball can get up to 100 miles an hour, averaging right around 97. You see the numbers there. I mentioned the blown save, 1 for 2. A couple of walks in there, a little bit surprising for him early on, but it is predominantly fastball, slider, and that slider average is about 87.
Got away a little bit there, 1-1 the count.
So Mike Napoli, that ball runs in a little bit, but look at the stare right there. Unintimidated by that is Mike Napoli.
One pitch, and a swing and a miss.
He's got strikeout power. He has done it before. A starter in the minor leagues, and I mentioned his burst on the scene last year. It's a big arm in the back end of that Mariners bullpen.
1-2, and Napoli serves it foul. We'll get another one.
Edwin Diaz needs a little bit more time, but he very easily could find himself in that conversation with Dylan Betances, Andrew Miller. Great strikeout arms. Kenley Jansen.
Fastball got him, and Napoli strikes out swinging to start the 9th. Well, our progressive upcoming schedule. Tomorrow back out here an hour earlier. Our coverage beginning at 7:30 Central Time, and then a day game on Sunday, a getaway day. And the ball club heads to Oakland to wrap up a 3-city trip. Rougned Odor, 0 for 3 tonight.
This interests me. We talk about the shift a lot, and it's on right now for Rougned Odor. I look at that and I say, does Scott Service believe, do the Mariners believe that Rougned Odor can get around a 97, 98 mile an hour fastball and pull it? Now, if I'm pitching and I'm throwing at that speed, I prefer those guys probably a little bit closer to straight up.
But he does rip this one foul.
Slider. That's what I'm talking about on that heater. He throws a good fastball down and away. Rudy puts a pretty decent swing on it. You would expect him to be late. Listen, they have the data. They have the reasons. It's just one of those things that I think we look at and sometimes I get a little pessimistic about. You see a fan go over on that and get a little field time. And the ball. Did he get the ball?
0-2. Couple of strikeouts for Edwin Diaz.
Elevating 0-2. Edwin Diaz in a great spot at that point. It'd be a tough time catching up to that, as would any hitter that high in the zone.
Well, that's going to leave it in the hands of Elvis Andrus. Rangers down to their final out. And the first pitch in there for a strike.
Look at Elvis. He's thinking, you got to be kidding me, right? He just saw the big fastballs. He's got to get it going a little bit, and Diaz flips him up a little slider with a wrinkle in it.
Elvis 1 for 3. And in a hole here. No balls, 2 strikes. The Rangers' 1 run came in the 6th inning.
See the elevation, tough to get to.
Diaz ready in the 0-2. The Mariners have started the year 2-8, off to really one of the worst starts in their franchise history as they celebrate 40 years as a franchise this year. Oh, 2 pitch upstairs. Rangers had a man at second base last inning. It was Carlos Gomez representing the tying run. Had opportunities tonight, fueled them. And this one line left field, base hit. And they may have just gotten another. Andrus is aboard with 2 out in the 9th.
Edwin Diaz, always a difficult at bat. Doesn't matter who is up there. And see, this looked like a slider here. Yeah, absolutely. And it hung up in the zone. And hindsight's 20/20, but Elvis does a nice job. I don't think I love that pitch selection. When you get the fastball that Diaz has, you throw that slider, you want to bury it down. Cannot give Elvis a chance the way that he's been swinging the bat this year.
So a tying run on in this 9th inning. And Jonathan Lucroy, he has faced Diaz once and got a base hit off of him. Shoots it foul, strike 1.
What's so interesting about that call that we saw in the home run that hit the wall, and you and I both thought it should have been second and third, but instead it was first and second, turned into a double play. Completely changes the scope of this game. Diaz is tough, no 2 ways about it, but it's a 1-run game, and who knows how things would have turned out differently had it been second and third as opposed to first and second. The Rangers can get a runner in scoring position, somehow find a way to scratch one across. That would end up being a big part of this game.
This one bounces off the plate into the backstop, and Andrus will go all the way to third. Wow. Lucroy swung at it, but it bounced off the plate. And then it was a long run at that point for ZUNINO.
Elvis was running on this pitch, and you see the slider go down. ZUNINO made the mistake of trying to backhand that ball. Now, he's originally thinking that ball was not going to go in the dirt and trying to throw out Elvis Andrus, but once it went down, he had no chance trying to back pick that slider from Diaz.
Stolen base and a wild pitch. Now the tying run is 90 feet away. And a bouncer, third base. SEAGER. And that'll do it. The Rangers got close a couple of times in the late innings, but the Mariners get out of here with a 2-1 victory in the first game of our series. Edwin Diaz with the save. Well, coming up, John Radigan, Mark McLemore, David Murphy back in the studio. They'll have sound from a number of the key players today, from the skipper. They'll break down the pitching matchup today, Perez and Hernandez. Highlights, analysis, all that coming up. Mariners beating the Rangers 2-1.